Celestial Immortal Clan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, Opportunity and Obsession. After checking a few places of interest, he reluctantly returned the jade slip to his grandfather. After his grandfather made a copy for him, he would check it out slowly. Chatting and drinking tea with his grandfather, he soon finished a pot of tea. After saying goodbye to his grandfather, Lin Changqing returned to his room. Now Lin Changqing's cultivation has reached the peak of the 7th level of key refining. He is considering whether to take 100-year-old Zhu fruit or a little Beihuzhuhan wine. After advancing to the 8th level of key refining, he will switch to the 5 elements Chaos Sutra. In this way, the spiritual energy in the Danshan will be more, and the remaining cultivation will be higher after the switch. Moreover, after breaking through to the 8th level of key refining, it is estimated that the spiritual consciousness will also increase a little. Suddenly, an idea came to him. Maybe he could try not to use Zhu fruit or spiritual wine, but to try to impact directly. Anyway, there would be no loss. In fact, Lin Changqing had already reached this level of cultivation before the beast tide began. After experiencing the baptism of the beast tide and accepting the task of his great-grandmother, he walked in the Jiang secret realm. There has been enough accumulation, and it should have been a breakthrough long ago, but I have been wanting to switch to the 5 elements Chaos Sutra, which has delayed it until now. He got into good posture, sat cross-legged with his 5 hearts facing upward, his eyes looking at his nose looking at his heart, and after entering a state of concentration, he began to move the meridians and practice the 5 elements Gyan Sutra. After a few cycles, he confirmed that the spiritual energy in the Danshan in his body was full. Then he began to guide the spiritual energy in the Danshan to impact the acupuncture points in the meridians. There was only one acupuncture point left. He would try to impact it during his usual practice, but it didn't work. There was a very strong feeling in his heart that he would definitely not fail this time. So Lin Changqing gritted his teeth and didn't want to wait any longer. He just followed his feelings. His spirit, will, and mind were combined into one, and he worked hard to guide the spiritual energy to sprint to that acupuncture point. A strong tingling came, and then a loud boom was heard in his mind, and then the surrounding spiritual energy quickly rushed towards Lin Changqing's body. Waves of comfortable feeling came. Having experienced many breakthroughs, Lin Changqing would not be too excited now. Taking advantage of this breakthrough opportunity, Lin Changqing was carefully feeling the changes inside and outside his body. The body of a cultivator is a huge treasure. Lin Changqing hopes to know more about his body, but the extremely clear feeling after the breakthrough soon disappeared and could never be captured again. At the same time, a layer of gray-white dirt was discharged from the surface of the body, and the breath also surged a lot. Now that the feeling has disappeared, let's concentrate on consolidating the realm that has just been broken through. Looking at the 10th meridian, it has been completely opened. The spiritual energy will eventually flow into the Danshan, and this cycle will repeat many times. This consolidation took several hours. When Lin Changqing opened his eyes again, it was already the next morning. Fortunately, the spiritual energy in the Danshan has been slowly enriched, and the cultivation of the 8th level of key training has gradually stabilized. After checking the divine sense, it was found that it was exactly as expected. The detection range has increased by another 10 feet, and now it is about 90 feet, which is about 270 meters. The Danshan also expanded accordingly. After a rough estimate, it should be about 50% more spiritual energy than the 7th level of key refining. Looking inward at the Danshan and the 10 meridians that were completely opened, Lin Changqing still felt a sense of accomplishment. And now that his cultivation level has increased a bit, the safety of this trip to Tongshan village in Jianzhou prefecture will definitely be more guaranteed. The human body has 12 meridians. From the 1st to the 6th level of key refining, each time one meridian is opened, one level of cultivation can be broken through. However, from the 7th level of key refining to the 9th level of key refining, 2 meridians must be opened at each level, and all 12 meridians must be opened at the 9th level of key refining. Then he began to polish the spiritual energy in the Danshan to prepare for the next stage of breaking through the foundation building period. Feeling very comfortable, after cleaning the dirt on his body and changing his clothes, Lin Changqing came to the hall of the cave, where his grandfather was already waiting for him. Lin Changqing hurried forward to greet him and told him the news that he had successfully broken through the 8th level of key refining yesterday. After hearing Lin Changqing's good news, Grandpa laughed heartily, and then said to Lin Changqing, "I felt a fluctuation of spiritual energy coming from your room last night, and I estimated that you must have made a breakthrough. It seems that yesterday must have been a good day. Our family can be said to have had 3 good things happen together." Lin Changqing also smiled and said, "Yesterday, I was influenced by my father and second uncle and decided to try to break through. Fortunately, I succeeded." Grandpa nodded and said, "Cultivating immortals also requires chance and opportunity. Yesterday, your father and others succeeded in building the foundation, and the shackles of obsession in your heart gradually disappeared. This should be an opportunity for you. Just like when I practiced yesterday, I also felt that my cultivation was more advanced than usual. It should be the same reason. The so-called persistent thinking will surely have a response, and this should be the reason." After listening to this, Lin Changqing suddenly realized that what his grandfather said was right and made a lot of sense. Cultivating immortals is not only about cultivating the body and magic power, but also a spiritual practice. Lin Changqing stood up and thanked his grandfather solemnly. "Thank you for your teachings, grandson. I have learned a lot." Grandpa nodded with satisfaction. "There is one more thing. Your cultivation level is already the 8th level of key refining, the same as your mother. Among the 5 spiritual roots recorded in the Lin family, your cultivation speed should be the fastest. So you should usually practice the hidden spirit technique and hide 1 or 2 levels of cultivation. This way, it will not attract too much attention. There may be unexpected surprises at critical moments." Lin Changqing had never thought about this aspect. Now after listening to his grandfather's words, he laughed. He didn't expect his grandfather to be so experienced. He was indeed worthy of being an old man who often walked outside. "Grandpa, you are an old man in the world. Your grandson will listen to you and just hide 1 layer of cultivation. Otherwise, it will become the middle stage of key refining, which will make others think that you are in a bad situation." Grandpa nodded, agreeing with Lin Changqing's decision. Lin Changqing began to practice the hidden spirit technique, hiding his cultivation level a little, and still showing to the outside world that he was at the 7th level of key refining. After getting used to it, Lin Changqing began to make green jade tea, and the grandfather and grandson began to chat. In fact, they were mainly waiting now. Grandpa was waiting for Lin Changqing's father and second uncle to consolidate their cultivation and come out of retreat, to confirm that his 2 sons had successfully completed the foundation building. After all, the grandfather and grandson speculated that they had successfully built the foundation yesterday, but they still had to see it with their own eyes to feel at ease. And Lin Changqing remembered that he had promised his father to greet him when he successfully built the foundation and came out of retreat. Now he was fulfilling his promise to his father. However, the grandfather and grandson did not wait for them to come out of retreat that day. It was not until the afternoon of the 3rd day that they were drinking tea and chatting. Suddenly, in the retreat room where Lin Changqing's father was in retreat, they heard, click. With a sound, the sealed barrier on the door was opened. Grandpa had already stood up excitedly, and Lin Changqing hurried to the door of the training room to wait. Soon, the door was opened, and his father Lin Changqing walked out with a smile on his face. Feeling the 2nd level spiritual pressure emanating from his father, he confirmed that the foundation was successfully built. Lin Changqing was so happy that he couldn't help rushing up, hugged him, and shouted happily, "Congratulations, father, you have successfully built your foundation. From now on, you will live forever and prosper in the immortal way." Lin Changqing saw that his son had returned safely, and came to greet him when he successfully built his foundation and came out of seclusion. He was also very happy, so he didn't care about his exaggerated words, but patted his son on the back vigorously. Then he came to his father Lin Fandao, saluted him very seriously, and said, "Father, your son has not lived up to your expectations and has successfully built a foundation." Lin Fandao nodded, his eyes slightly wet, and it took him a while to adjust his emotions. He said happily, "Okay, the success of building the foundation can only be regarded as the first step on the road to immortality. I have to continue to work hard to practice in the future. The next goal is to break through to the Purple Mansion stage." Chapter 127 Tacit Understanding. After hearing what Grandpa said, my father laughed and said, "Father, don't you know my own qualifications? I am already blessed by Father and Kinger to be able to build a foundation. How can I dare to hope to cultivate to the Purple Mansion stage?" Besides, the Purple Mansion Twanksuan pill or the Purple Mansion Jade liquid, doesn't it cost 300,000 or 400,000 spirit stones? And it is not necessarily available, so I dare not think about the Purple Mansion stage." Grandpa was almost angry to death after hearing what my father said, and slapped him directly. My father didn't know why he was beaten for telling the truth, but he didn't dare to dodge, and he was slapped on the head. My father was very puzzled, touched the place where he was hit, and asked, "Why did you hit me? Didn't I tell the truth?" Grandpa glared at him fiercely, then took out a jade box with a high-level sealing talisman on it from the storage bag and threw it to him. Father understood that he was asked to open it. Although he was confused and puzzled, he still took off the soul-sealing talisman and opened the jade box. He immediately saw a purple ore pill that exuded the spiritual pressure of a third-level treasure. Although he had a little guess in his heart, he still couldn't believe it. He swallowed his saliva and couldn't help asking, "Father, what kind of pill is this?" Grandpa was angry and ignored him. Lin Changqing knew that he had to take the stage at this time, so he answered, "Dad, what you are holding in your hand is the Purple Mansion Twanksuan pill." Although he had a little guess in his heart, when his son told him clearly, his hands couldn't help but tremble. Then his excited face quickly flushed, and his reaction was similar to that of his grandfather when he first got the Purple Mansion Twanksuan pill. Soon, his father reacted, quickly closed the jade box, input a little more mana, reactivated the soul-sealing talisman, and then carefully and seriously pasted the talisman back. Knowing that his father was angry with him and would not pay attention to him, he could only turn around and ask Lin Changqing, "Kinger, why do we have such precious elixirs?" Lin Changqing organized his words a little and explained, "Dad, this time I accepted the task of my great-grandmother and entered the Jiang secret realm to protect junior sister Chen, and then I also collected some main medicines for the Foundation Establishment pill and the Purple Mansion Twanksuan pill. Because the task was completed well and a lot of main medicines were collected, I first got 2 Foundation Establishment pills and 2 Purple Mansion Twanksuan pills from my great-grandmother, and I will go to her for the rest if I need them. But I promise that the number of Purple Mansion Twanksuan pills will not be small. At least we can guarantee that each of our family members has one." After hearing his son's words, Lin Maosheng couldn't believe it. This was true. He had only been in seclusion for more than a month. How could he suddenly become so different? The family has suddenly become rich. At this time, Grandpa Lin Fandao listened to what Lin Changqing said, and an idea came to his mind. He took out another identical jade box from the storage bag and threw it to Lin Maosheng again. Seeing the same jade box as the one he was holding now, he couldn't help but open it again and take a look. It was still the same elixir as before, so he quickly closed it and put the sealing talisman back. Grandpa reached out and took the 2 jade boxes from his father's hand back. He took back the storage bag, then returned to the cave hall and drank tea. At this time, the father also understood the meaning of his son's words and finally realized that he still had a great chance to advance to the Purple Mansion stage. He finally understood why his father was angry, and quickly came to his father Lin Fandao's side, began to pour tea and water with a playful smile, then quietly admitted his mistakes, and promised to practice hard and strive to advance to the Purple Mansion stage as soon as possible. Grandpa's face looked better. After thinking for a while, he said, "Whether you have the Purple Mansion Twanksuan pill or not, you should work hard to improve your cultivation. In the world of immortal cultivation, the strong prey on the weak. No one knows what will happen in the future, but the higher your cultivation, the more you can guarantee that you will be able to cope with it." Lin Maosheng felt a little ashamed after hearing this, and admitted his mistake. "Father, I did relax a little after successfully building my foundation. I will definitely not do that in the future." Grandpa sighed, took out 2 spiritual weapons, one for attack and one for defense, which he bought at Wanbao Pavilion from his storage bag, and handed them to his son. He ordered, "Next, you can complete the 100-day foundation building with peace of mind, temper your meridians, nourish your body, and sacrifice these 2 spiritual weapons by the way, so as not to use first-level magic weapons when you reach the foundation building stage." Lin Maosheng quickly thanked his father, then stepped forward to take it. After taking a look, he found that both of them were earth-attributed spiritual weapons, which just fit his attributes. One was a second-level low-grade spiritual weapon flying sword, and the other was a second-level middle-grade shield-type spiritual weapon. Seeing that his grandfather was no longer angry, Lin Changqing hurried over and brewed another pot of green jade tea. The grandfather, grandson, Father and son gathered together to talk. Lin Changqing asked curiously, "Dad, how was your foundation building process? Was it going smoothly? How come you were so much faster than and?" Grandpa obviously wanted to know what was going on and was listening carefully. Lin Maosheng thought about it and said, "I don't know what happened. After entering the practice room and getting ready, I followed the foundation building records left by my ancestors in the family scripture pavilion and the experience taught by my father. Combined with my own understanding, I began to compress my own spiritual energy little by little. It should be because of the strength of my spiritual consciousness. It seems that compressing spiritual energy is not as difficult as described in the records. After compressing it until there is no way to compress it anymore, I took out the foundation building pill and took it, and then rushed over without hesitation, and successfully broke through to the foundation building stage. Then the surrounding spiritual energy rushed to me quickly, and I took the opportunity to convert them into liquid mana until the spiritual energy tide ended. The whole process can be regarded as very smooth, and it seems that there was no special difficulty." Lin Changqing and his grandfather looked at each other. After listening to the process described by his father, they didn't hear anything wrong. The whole process can be summed up in 4 words, very smooth. At this time, another click sound was heard, and the closed band on the door of the second uncle's practice room was opened. Lin Changqing hurried to the door and waited, and his grandfather and father also came over. Soon the door opened, and the second uncle came out with a smile on his face. Seeing everyone coming to greet him, he was even happier. Feeling the second-level spiritual pressure from the second uncle and confirming that he had also successfully built his foundation, Lin Changqing was particularly happy. After all, the second uncle had been very good to them since they were young. He was the first to congratulate the second uncle and shouted loudly, "Congratulations, second uncle, you have successfully built your foundation. From now on, you will live forever and prosper in the immortal way." The second uncle laughed and patted Lin Changqing's shoulder hard. He said proudly, "Kinger, the second uncle loves to listen to your words. Speak more. The second uncle will protect you in the future." At this time, the grandfather snorted, and the second uncle shrank his neck. He quickly came to his father Lin Fandao, bowed and said, "Dad, my son has successfully built his foundation. I have lived up to your training and expectations." The grandfather nodded, his eyes were a little wet. In fact, he was very happy today. The 2 sons successfully built their foundations on the same day and came out of retreat on the same day. However, he was just angry with his eldest son and he still couldn't recover. After a while, he said, "Very good, but even if you succeed in building your foundation, it can only be regarded as the first step on the road to immortal cultivation. You must continue to work hard in the future. The next goal is to break through to the purple mansion stage, or even the golden core stage." The second uncle heard this and said with a smile, "Although I know that my aptitude is average, I have never relaxed my cultivation." "Don't worry, Dad." Lin Changqing and his son were relieved to hear the answer from the second uncle. "As long as they don't make Grandpa angry, it will be fine." Grandpa didn't say anything after hearing this. Although he was not very satisfied, at least this answer was much better than the answer of his eldest son just now. The second uncle sensed his eldest brother's cultivation again and found that he also had the second-level spiritual pressure. He was even happier. "Brother, you have also successfully established your foundation? When did you come out of retreat?" The father shook his head and said, "It was just a little earlier than you. Our father just said the same thing to me, but I didn't answer well and made him angry. We were relieved when we heard your answer just now. At least we didn't make Dad angry." Lin Changqing smiled and said, "Father, second uncle, let's not stand here, let's go to the hall. Grandpa is waiting for us." Chapter 128, Secret. The 3 of them returned to the hall, and Grandpa was already brewing green jade tea. Everyone sat down and drank a few cups of tea. Grandpa spoke, "Mao Bin, tell me about the whole process of your foundation building, and be more detailed, so that Kinger can use it as a reference for future foundation building." Second uncle nodded after listening, and after thinking for a while, he spoke, "It seems that my foundation building process is the same as what my father taught me and what the ancestors recorded in the family sutra pavilion. After entering, I adjusted my body and mind, and then began to continuously compress the spiritual energy in the danshan. Until it was compressed to the extreme, I felt that I couldn't compress it anymore, so I took out the foundation building pill and took it. After the effect of the foundation building pill took effect, I rushed over in one go, and then succeeded. The only thing is that I feel that my spiritual consciousness is strong, and controlling spiritual energy is handy. And compressing spiritual energy is not as difficult as my father said. I think this process should be considered very smooth. Grandpa listened, nodded, and didn't say anything else. Father said, "Second brother, your foundation building process is basically the same as mine." Lin Changqing also agreed, "Yes, second uncle. You and my father built the foundation on the same day, and came out of retreat on the same day. You built the foundation in a very short time, nearly 2 months faster than my aunt, and the most important thing is that it seems to be very smooth." At this time, grandfather also said, "It is very likely that it is because of the 100 Flowers soul intoxicating wine. If there are more clan members coming to exchange or buy in the future, you must insist that you don't have it, otherwise there will be endless trouble." The three knew that what grandfather said made sense, and they didn't want to encounter such trouble, so they quickly promised that they would insist that they didn't have it, and they would not exchange or sell it to anyone again. Grandpa nodded, believing that they all knew the importance of it, and he didn't say anything. After a little consideration, he took out 2 spiritual tools and 2 secret books from the storage bag. First, he gave 2 spiritual weapons, one for attack and one for defense, to his second uncle. They were also a second-level low-grade flying sword and a second-level medium-grade shield-like spiritual weapon, but they were both gold-attributed spiritual weapons, which just suited his second uncle's attributes. After thanking Grandpa with a smile, his second uncle stepped forward to take the 2 spiritual weapons. Then Grandpa gave 2 secret books to Lin Changqing's father and second uncle, one each. He introduced solemnly, "This is a heavenly level technique, the key refining and foundation building chapters of the 5 Directions 5 Elements Thunder Sutra, and there are more to come. But the other contents will not be passed on to you until you reach a certain level of cultivation. Also, when you leave the clan land in the future, you must leave this technique secret manual behind, and it is best to return it to me after you have memorized it. This technique is also Kinger's opportunity, and from now on this Thunder Sutra will be the secret of our family and this lineage. If Mao Ting or Xiaolinger get married in the future, their Taoist partner must obtain consent from all of us before they can teach them the Thunder Sutra, and they are not allowed to teach it privately." Father and second uncle looked at each other. They never expected that their family would have such a powerful technique. However, doesn't a thunder-attributed technique require a thunder spiritual root to practice? Finally, it was the second uncle who asked a question, "Dad, the name sounds like a thunder-attributed technique. Doesn't it require thunder spiritual roots to practice?" Grandpa glared at him and said, "You didn't even take a look at it, and you know you can't practice it? Why should I give it to you if you can't practice it?" Lin Changqing hurried out to explain, "Second uncle, father, this technique is the core technique of the Thunder Holy Land in the upper realm. For some reasons, it has been passed down to our world. And after thousands of years of research and improvement in the Thunder Holy Land, you only need earth spiritual roots to practice thunder magic. It's just that these thunder magic powers are stored in thunder acupoints one by one, and each acupoint also requires a thunder-attributed spiritual object or spiritual tool as a suppressant. Now my grandfather and I have cultivated several thunder acupoints." After saying that, he stretched out his hand and cast a palm thunder, which blasted the ground in the hall. Fortunately, because my father and second uncle were in seclusion, the defense formation of the cave was always on. Otherwise the thunder might have been transmitted to the outside. Father and second uncle opened their eyes wide, looking at the small hole on the ground made by the palm thunder, and then they believed what Lin Changqing said. After knowing that the 2 brothers believed that the technique could be practiced, grandfather continued to say, "You just said that without thunder spirit roots, it is impossible to practice thunder magic. But this technique can indeed be practiced, and even various kinds of divine thunder can be practiced and used. Like Kinger's current major Jingjing Divine Thunder and Geshu Yin Thunder, I am mainly practicing Wuta Divine Thunder and Yimu Yin Thunder. Now you understand the preciousness of this technique, right?" Hearing this, father and second uncle hurriedly nodded to show that they understood. At this time, Father Lin Maosheng asked, "If our whole family can suddenly use thunder magic, wouldn't that expose us directly?" Grandpa nodded, expressing his relief that he could think of this problem, and explained, "So it is absolutely not allowed to be used at ordinary times, and can only be used as a means of bottoming out. And when you have to use thunder magic, you must ensure that the news does not leak out. If necessary, you must kill the mouth, and you must not be soft-hearted, Otherwise you will definitely suffer. You don't want to happen one day that some powerful person will break through Jiufeng Mountain and rob the Thunder Sutra, right? Think about the consequences of such a thing. Will the Lin family still exist at that time? Hearing this, father and second uncle shuddered. They dared not even think about that kind of scene. Father Lin Fandao told them the worst result directly, and extinguished the slightest bit of luck in their hearts. Then he secretly made up his mind that if he had to use thunder magic, he would not be soft-hearted and would never leave anyone alive. The two of them solemnly promised their father that they would never leak the news, and would not put the family in danger because of their soft-heartedness. Grandpa stared at them with a serious face and said, "It's good to know the seriousness of the consequences of leaking the news. I let you practice the Thunder Sutra because it has the effect of refining the body. You will know this after practicing it in the future. More importantly, from the Purple Mansion, you must pass the Thunder Tribulation if you want to advance. You can practice the Thunder Sutra more confidently and not fall under the Thunder Tribulation. Do you understand?" Father and second uncle nodded in unison to show that they understood. Grandpa continued, "To practice the Thunder Sutra, you need to open up 365 Thunder acupoints, and each acupoint needs a suppressant. I will support you with a small part of this, but you need to find a way to solve the rest by yourself." Second uncle smiled and said, "This acupoint should be opened one by one, right? If so, we can solve all of them by ourselves. We can't always let father worry about everything. After all, we are also foundation-building cultivators and have the ability to earn spirit stones by ourselves." Father also said, "Second brother is right. In the future, we should hunt more monsters and earn enough spirit stones for our own practice and the purchase of talismans." Hearing the two brothers say this, as their father, he was very pleased. "It's great that you think this way, but now you should concentrate on completing the 100-day foundation building. As for practicing the Thunder Sutra, we'll talk about it later. For the time being, just do it according to my method. And this time, your successful foundation building, after the clan leader comes, we will discuss it and decide whether to announce it to the public. There is a high probability that we won't let outsiders know. You should have an idea in your mind first." Father smiled and said, "Anyway, you have successfully built a foundation. Whether it is announced to the public or not, you are still a foundation-building cultivator. I don't care about these false names. It's up to father and the clan leader to decide." Second uncle also laughed and said, "In fact, it's better not to announce it. Maybe by then, 1 or 2 bastards can be killed. It's a pity that we can't hold a foundation-building celebration and receive some gifts. It's a little bit less interesting." Grandpa glared at him and said unhappily, "After you finish this cup of tea, you must go back and complete the 100-day foundation building. You can take a look at the Thunder Sutra and learn about it, but don't practice it yet. Wait until I demonstrate it to you once, and then you can start practicing. Do you understand?" Hearing Grandpa's instructions, father and second uncle quickly agreed. After drinking the tea, they each took 2 spiritual tools and the secret book of the Thunder Sutra and returned to the practice room, ready to complete the most important 100-day foundation building. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 Treasure. After Lin Changqing's father and second uncle returned to the practice room for retreat, only the grandfather and grandson were left in the hall. "Are the things you just told your father about the Purple Mansion Twangsun pill true?" Grandpa finally had the chance to ask this question. Lin Changqing nodded and shook his head, and explained, "Part of it is under the name of the great-grandmother. But I have already prepared the 6 main medicines of Zifu Twangsun Gan, and I am just waiting for the opportunity to refine it. But the problem now is to find an alchemist who can refine the 3rd-grade elixir. It's a pity that 6th grandpa is only a 2nd-grade mid-grade alchemist, and the Lin family does not have the recipe for Zifu Twangsun Gan, otherwise it wouldn't be so troublesome." Grandpa frowned after hearing this, hesitated for a moment, and then said, "I heard that Danding sect provides alchemy services, but you have to provide all the medicinal materials yourself, and after the pill is made, they will take 30% as a reward for refining the pill." Lin Changqing shook his head and said, "It's too dangerous. If you and the clan leader have both advanced to the Purple Mansion, there might be some possibility of operation. But if you go to them to refine the third-grade Zifu Tuangsuandan in the foundation building period, it is estimated that 9 out of 10 times you won't be able to come back. Grandpa also knew that what Lin Changqing said was right. He sighed helplessly and asked worriedly, what about the 6 main ingredients of your Zifu Tuangsuan pill? They can't be stored for long. At most, they can be stored for 2 or 3 years before the efficacy begins to fade. I'll take care of it, don't worry. After saying that, he thought for a while, took out a jade box from the storage bag, and handed it over. Grandpa took it with some doubt, and then opened it. There were actually 12 neatly arranged spiritual fruits inside, like green jade. It felt a little familiar, but suddenly he couldn't remember what spiritual fruit it was, so he asked, Kinger, what spiritual fruit is this? What is its function? Lin Changqing introduced, this is a mature foundation building fruit, one of the 3 main ingredients for refining the foundation building pill. It can also be taken directly, and the efficacy is the same as the foundation building pill. Grandpa was a little surprised when he heard Lin Changqing say that this was a foundation building fruit. After all, the foundation building fruit was far inferior to the Zifu Tuangsuan pill. Although there were as many as 12 foundation building fruits, it was not too strange to put them on his grandson Lin Changqing. Kinger, you took these out. Are you planning to use them as foundation building pills? Grandpa asked hesitantly. Lin Changqing sighed and said, I know it's a waste to do this, but the problem is that 6th Grandpa is only a second-level middle grade one. Can he refine a second-level upper-grade foundation building pill? And the lack of a foundation building pill recipe is also a problem. Grandpa was silent for a moment, and then said, your great-grandfather has prepared the recipe for the foundation building pill, but your 6th Grandpa is only a second-level middle grade one now. I'm afraid that even if I give it to him to refine the foundation building pill, it will not be worth the loss in the end. Moreover, it is difficult to explain the source of so many foundation building fruits suddenly, not to mention that the Lin family suddenly has a lot of foundation building cultivators, which will attract the attention of other forces. Lin Changqing nodded, hesitated for a moment, and said, should we take advantage of this beast tide, when the casualties of each family were heavy, and take the opportunity to turn some of the clansmen from open to dark and hide their identities? Let them go to other places and open 1 or 2 secret family bases. After all, putting all the 8 treasure eggs in the same basket is too unsafe. Of course, this will also make use of all these foundation building fruits. Grandpa opened his eyes wide in surprise after hearing what Lin Changqing said. After a while, he said, the clan leader really didn't make a mistake about you. You are indeed very suitable to be the clan leader. I now absolutely believe that the Lin family will prosper under your leadership in the future. Lin Changqing shook his head repeatedly and said, no, it's okay to give advice at ordinary times, but it's too heavy for me to shoulder the fate of the entire family. I can't bear it. Grandpa glared at him and said, we'll talk about this when the time comes. If you really need to do it at that time, it's not up to you. Now you should work hard to improve your own cultivation. Otherwise, if you really become the clan leader, your cultivation is too low to convince the crowd. Lin Changqing was speechless. This couldn't be forced. Just as the spiritual tea in the pot was finished, Lin Changqing said something to his grandfather and then returned to his room. Lin Changqing sat in the room and pondered. In fact, Lin Changqing already had some ideas about the way to make elixirs, but this was not something that could be achieved in a short time. Besides, if I find someone to make the elixir right after the trip to the secret realm, wouldn't that be telling others that I have hidden the main medicine? It's not good for myself, my family, and my great-grandmother. And what my grandfather mentioned just now, that the main medicines will begin to lose their spiritual energy after being stored for a period of time, Lin Changqing decided to take advantage of the time to deal with it all at once. In fact, 5 of the 6 main medicines of Zifu Tuangsuandan have been transplanted, and there are only 6 Zhuanghuang fruits, which are still in the jade box and have not been processed. Lin Changqing is going to cut them all open to see if he can find 1 or 2 fruit cores that can be planted. The Zhuanghuang fruit trees in the secret realm have been growing for who knows how many years, and they are already too mature to be ripe. There should be fruit cores that can be planted in these Zhuanghuang fruits. The things are in the space. When he thinks about going in later, Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling will definitely ask him for delicious food again, and his head hurts. But he still has to go in and take a look. Lu Xiao is still advancing. Seal the restrictions of the room, check and confirm that it is safe before entering the space. Sure enough, Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling came around immediately. After stroking their fur and feeding each of them a nurturing spirit pill, they still kept pestering Lin Changqing. There was no other way, so he could only cut 100-year-old zoo fruit with a jade knife, dig out the core, and give it to them. Only then did he let Lin Changqing go with satisfaction. Lin Changqing checked Lu Xiaoya, who was still sleeping, and after confirming that everything was normal, he felt relieved and didn't need to worry about it. When it woke up, it would be a second-level spirit beast. He found a storage bag where the Zhuangherong fruit was stored, took out 6 Zhuangherong fruits, and immediately smelled a faint fragrance. The fruit itself was light yellow and translucent and quite beautiful. It looked very appetizing, but Lin Changqing didn't dare to eat it carelessly. Eating carelessly would most likely cause the danshan to swell. The lesson of the previous Earth Soul fruit was still vivid in his mind. He took out the small jade knife and cut the Zhuangherong fruit in half. There was only a deformed seed inside, and it was obvious at a glance that it could not survive. After cutting, the fragrance of Zhuangherong fruit became stronger. Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling came around again. Lin Changqing quickly stopped them, otherwise they looked restless and might not be able to resist the temptation and take a piece at any time. It was not that Lin Changqing was reluctant to do so, but he was afraid that they could not bear it and would grow bad. Lin Changqing quickly sped up and cut the remaining 5 Zhuangherong fruits. Finally, there was a fruit core that was relatively normal and full. It looked like it could be planted. Lin Changqing was overjoyed. He quickly packed up everything, and then found a good place to plant the fruit core. Then he used the spirit rain technique and the peon-inducing birth technique, and finally saw a little bit of sprouts emerging from the ground. Lin Changqing breathed a sigh of relief. This time, the 6 main ingredients of Zifu Tuangsuandan could finally be mass-produced independently. He told Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling to take good care of the seedlings of this Zhuangherong fruit tree. As for how to deal with the remaining Zhuangherong fruit pulp, Lin Changqing had already thought about it. Throw it into the deep pit of the space, let Lin Changqing absorb and digest it, and then the space area can be increased. Do it when you think of it, otherwise the spiritual energy will flow away faster from the cut fruit flesh. When he came to the edge of the deep pit, he threw all the Zhuangherong fruit flesh and several deformed fruit cores down together and gave them to Lin Changqing. After finishing all this, Lin Changqing inspected the space and exited the space when he found no problems. Chapter 130, Ancient Industry. After leaving the space, seeing the sky, it was still early. Lin Changqing started practicing the Thunder Sutra again. Every time he saw that he had made some progress, he felt a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. So, cultivation is really addictive. Of course, it is necessary to feel the progress. Of course, there are also many cultivators who have not made any progress all year round, so they simply give up cultivation and just try to maintain their current cultivation level without regressing. This is the cultivator mentioned before, who has no way forward. Such cultivators can only eat and wait for death, so Lin Changqing does not want to be such a person. In a blink of an eye, another 2 or 3 days have passed, and today is the day to set off for Jianzhou Prefecture. Lin Changqing completed his cultivation early in the morning, and after saying goodbye to his grandfather, he rushed to the south gate, the passenger ship landing area 10 miles away. Of course, before going out, Lin Changqing had already put on the hidden spirit mask, but this time he changed his face again. This face looked like an ordinary young man. It was better looking than the previous face, but it was also low-key and not noticeable. Lin Changqing liked it this way. When they arrived at the place, it was still early for the agreed time. After searching around, they did not see Senior Chen Jie or Chen Ziya. They should not have arrived yet. They could only wait for them. They had already seen the passenger ship they were going to take this time. Because Lin Changqing recognized the Wanbao Pavilion logo on it, he confirmed that this ship was the passenger ship they were going to take. The hull looked more than 2 or 3 times larger than the treasure ship that the great-grandmother had used at that time. The hull was slender, with a total of 5 floors from top to bottom. The overall blue and white color looked very spectacular. There were really quite a few monks around who were taking this passenger ship. It was estimated that there were 200 or 300 people, both men and women, young and old, and they were also scattered around the landing field in 2s and 3s. They were basically all cultivators in the key refining stage. It seemed that this kind of passenger ship was indeed the first choice for cultivators in the key refining stage for long-distance travel. While Lin Changqing was waiting for Chen Ziya, he didn't expect someone to come and chat with him. A beautiful young woman who looked to be in her 20s walked up to Lin Changqing, and a fragrant breeze blew over him. Then she said to Lin Changqing, "My fellow Taoist, you look like you are alone. Are you going there? Do you want to find a companion on the way so that we can take care of each other?" Lin Changqing was very alert now. He was very alert to someone who took the initiative to chat with him. Besides, he looked very ordinary now. Someone who came to chat with him for no reason must have come with some purpose. Lin Changqing didn't want to cause trouble now, so he refused very neatly. "Sorry, I have a companion, I will be here soon, and there is no need to find someone else to accompany you. Dao should go somewhere else, there should be someone who likes to accompany you." The beautiful young woman didn't care, and smiled at Lin Changqing and said, "That's a pity, I'm in room 329 of Bingzi. Dao, if you change your mind, you can come to me. You are welcome at any time." After that, she blinked at Lin Changqing, and then went to find the next single male monk. At this time, Lin Changqing looked at her with enlightenment. It turned out that this industry was the oldest industry. Such a beautiful monk lady doing this, the business should be very prosperous. Lin Changqing sighed, but it was really not suitable for him, and it was better to avoid these people. After waiting for a while, there was finally a purple sword light rushing from the direction of Qingyuan City, circling around the takeoff and landing field, and then a burst of high-level monk's consciousness. Unscrupulously sweeping through all the key refining cultivators present, as if looking for something, the purple sword light finally landed beside Lin Changqing. It was Senior Chen Jie and Chen Ziya who came. Lin Changqing hurried forward to greet them. "Hello, Senior, hello, Junior Sister." Chen Ziya also bowed to Lin Changqing, then chuckled and said, "This Senior Brother, how should I address you this time?" Chen Jie raised her hand to set up a translucent soundproof pen, and then chuckled, "You clever boy, you have changed your appearance again. If it weren't for my high cultivation, I really couldn't find you." Lin Changqing laughed and said, "Isn't this the only way? The Lin family is weak and don't want to bring trouble to the family, so this is the only way. Oh, by the way, Zhang Dejin has met Senior Chen Jie and Junior Sister Chen, handsome." Hearing this name, they couldn't help but think of the previous name, tall and handsome. Both Chen Jie and Chen Ziya couldn't help but giggle, and stopped for a long time. Lin Changqing was helpless. He didn't understand the name. What was so funny about it? It was obviously a very serious name. Maybe there weren't many serious jokes in the world of immortal cultivation, so their sense of humor was a little low. Kit Chan still admired Lin Changqing very much. He was smart, clever, strong in combat, and most importantly, thick-skinned. When it was time to take advantage, he would never hesitate. So sometimes Kit Chan really didn't treat him as an ordinary junior. Okay, I know your name is Zhang Dejin. Ziya is now handed over to you, you must bring her back to me safely. If the task is completed well, I will give you an extra reward then. And I have booked 2 rooms on the top floor, room A15 and room A16. There are room numbers on the voucher you gave you can see it at a glance, you can just go up directly later. Thank you so much, Senior, don't worry. Junior will do my best to protect Junior Sister Chen, and I will definitely get this reward you gave me. And when we pass through various prefectures, we will also go around to various markets. Experience and understand the local customs and habits, just as a way to broaden your horizons. What do you think of this arrangement, Senior? Is it appropriate? Kit Chan was very happy after listening to Lin Changqing's words. He was indeed a smart guy. He guessed what she didn't say. Nodding with satisfaction, he said, "You can arrange this by yourselves. If you have any problems while you are away, you can handle them by yourselves. Anyway, my only request is that you come back safely," Lin Changqing said with a smile. "Don't worry, Senior. Even if I can't come back this time, I will make sure that Junior Sister Chen comes back safely. I just don't know what your extra reward is this time. Can you tell me first so that I can have something to look forward to?" After hearing what Lin Changqing said, Chen Jie couldn't help laughing and said, "I thought you wouldn't ask. I didn't expect that you couldn't help it. Okay, I'll tell you that the extra reward is to go to my collection room and let you choose a treasure at will. How about it? Is this reward okay? What if I don't like the right one by then?" Lin Changqing asked weakly. Chen Jie was furious when she heard this, and raised her hand to give Lin Changqing a loud slap on the head, which made Lin Changqing grimace in pain. Chen Ziya couldn't help laughing again at this time. "You must have been thinking, Kid, will I hide the good stuff first and not let you choose? Right. Lin Changqing stroked his head and denied repeatedly. No, no, how dare I? Absolutely not dare to think like that. Chen Jiki rolled her eyes when she heard it, HMPH, and said, Xiaoya knows best what is in my collection room. When the time comes, let her accompany you to choose. Of course, the prerequisite is that you complete the task this time to my satisfaction. Yes, yes, Junior will do my best, don't worry, Lin Changqing quickly agreed. HMPH, Kit Chen ignored Lin Changqing and turned to Chen Ziya and instructed, be careful when you go out. If you have anything to discuss with this cunning boy, don't go out alone. If you have anything to do, try to go with this boy. Grandma, my grandson understands. Brother Zhang and I have cooperated once in the secret realm. There will be no problem, and we won't cause trouble casually. You can rest assured. Kit Chen nodded, it's good that you understand. Then I'll go back first. The time is almost time, you should be able to board the ship. Turning to Lin Changqing, she said, cunning boy, Xiaoya is in your hands. I'll look forward to you coming to me to claim the extra reward. Lin Changqing smiled and said, goodbye, senior. I will definitely come to you to claim the award when I come back. Chen Ziya also said goodbye. Goodbye, grandma, your grandson will be back soon. Kit Chen nodded, turned into purple sword light, and flew away. Chapter 131 Gift. As soon as Senior Chen Jie left, the soundproofing barrier was broken. For safety reasons, Lin Changqing didn't want others to know the content of his conversation with Chen Ziya. He said to Chen Ziya, if there's anything, let's talk about it after we get on the boat. In the future, we should try not to communicate about important things outside, so as not to be heard by others. Chen Ziya nodded and said, I know, senior brother, don't worry. Fortunately, a voice on the passenger ship soon rang out, guests with the A character certificates of the Wanbao Pavilion passenger ship, please go to the side of the ship to check the certificates and board the ship. The voice was very loud, and it came from the ship. It seemed that the sound amplification technique or sound amplification array had this effect. The two took out the certificates from the storage bag, which were the certificates for the two A character rooms. Chen Ziya was about to walk over, but was stopped by Lin Changqing, who shook his head at her and signaled her not to move. Soon, more than a dozen monks holding the 8 character certificates boarded the top floor of the passenger ship under the gaze of 200 or 300 people on the scene. Seeing that no one else came, the voice sounded again, guests with Wanbao Pavilion Y character certificates, please start checking your certificates and boarding the ship now. 40 or 50 monks, holding their certificates, surrounded them. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya were also among the group. Outside the ship, 2 monks from Wanbao Pavilion were checking the certificates. Soon it was Lin Changqing's turn. When the monks checking the certificates saw the 2A character certificates, they were a little surprised, but they reacted quickly, glanced at them, and didn't make any trouble, just letting them pass as usual. Following those with the character certificates, they walked up to the 4th floor of the passenger ship, and soon some people successfully found their rooms. However, most people were in a mess, looking for their rooms everywhere. Lin Changqing took advantage of no one noticing and sneaked up to the top floor with Chen Ziya. There was basically no one in the corridor on the top floor, and the two of them found the rooms corresponding to their jade certificates very easily. Lin Changqing was in room A15, and Chen Ziya was in room A16, which happened to be the room's next door. Using the jade token to activate the ban on the door, Chen Ziya invited Lin Changqing, brother, come over for tea. Lin Changqing readily agreed, and the two entered room A16. The room was not very big, about 40 or 50 square meters, divided into a 1-bedroom and 1 living room. Fortunately, the lighting was good, which should have been specially selected by Senior Chen Jie. The two sat down in the living room, and Chen Ziya took out a set of white jade tea sets, which were white and crystal clear, and looked very high-end and tasteful. This was much more advanced than what Lin Changqing used himself. Looking at Chen Ziya's smooth movements, it was pretty good. At least she was beautiful, her hands were beautiful, and her tea sets were beautiful. In addition, Chen Ziya's temperament was cold and elegant, so watching her make tea was also a kind of enjoyment. Brother, please. Chen Ziya brought a cup of fragrant tea to Lin Changqing. Thank you, junior sister. Lin Changqing picked it up and smelled it. It was quite fragrant. I don't know what kind of tea it is. After tasting it, the fragrance overflowed in my mouth and the fragrance lingered on my lips and teeth. It was indeed a good tea. Lin Changqing couldn't help asking, "What kind of tea is this?" "It smells pretty good," Chen Ziya chuckled and said. "This is the second-level Yuluchan tea, which has the effect of clearing turbid qi and beautifying the skin. Great-grandmother and grandmother also like this tea very much, and specially transplanted a few plants in the back garden. If you like it, I can give you some." Lin Changqing shook his head and said, "Forget it. This tea is obviously more suitable for female monks to drink. It would be a waste to give it to me. And I guess my junior sister won't have too much stock, so you should keep it for yourself. If I want to drink it, I'll come to you again." Chen Ziya chuckled and said, "Okay, by the way, this is for you." After that, she took out a jade box from the storage bag and handed it to Lin Changqing. Chen Ziya continued, "This is junior sister Zhao, let me bring it to you." Hearing what Chen Ziya said, Lin Changqing had already guessed it. He took the jade box and opened it. There were 6 small jade boxes with sealing talismans inside. He took one out and played with it for a while, but finally couldn't help but peel off the talisman and open the jade box. He immediately smelled a faint fragrance. The fragrance also contained a little bit of honey, and inside the jade box was a snow-white pill. Chen Ziya introduced with a smile, "This is a second-grade top-grade 3-flower youth pill." Junior sister Zhao asked her master to refine it personally. And a little bit of precious third-grade Bohemia royal jelly was added to it, so the pill's grade broke through from second-grade upper grade to second-grade top grade. I don't know what happened, but after the news that Zaya Kangshan had refined a top-grade 3-flower youth pill leaked out, the female monks who came to ask for pills every day almost trampled the threshold of Zaya Kangshan. It was junior sister Zhao who forcibly withstood the pressure and refused to give it to anyone, but just used one youth pill to pay for the Bohemia royal jelly. Then each of the 3 of us got one, and the remaining 6 are here. Lin Changqing didn't expect that these 3-flower youth pills came in such a tortuous way. I didn't expect junior sister Zhao to be able to withstand the pressure and leave him so many youth pills. It was really difficult for her. Lin Changqing nodded, and he was still very happy. He decided to thank her well when they met next time. He closed the jade box, put the soul-sealing talisman back on, put it back in its place and put it in the storage bag. This time, he finally had the right gifts for his mother, aunt and sister. Of course, his sister's rejuvenating pill would be kept by his mother, and she would take it when she was 18 years old or older. Lin Changqing couldn't help but imagine how happy his mother and aunt would be when they got the rejuvenating pill. He was very happy and felt a sense of accomplishment. Seeing Lin Changqing's smiling face, Chen Ziya joked, "Seeing that you are so happy, are you going to give the rejuvenating pill to your loved one?" Lin Changqing was a little surprised that Chen Ziya would joke with him, and quickly explained, "No, I don't have a loved one. This is from my mother, aunt and sister. I thought they would be very happy to receive this gift. So I couldn't help laughing." After hearing this, Chen Ziya envied Lin Changqing's family for being able to live together, take care of each other, and not suffer the pain of separation. It's a pity that her family members don't have spiritual roots. Even if they are given the best elixirs that ordinary mortals can take, they can only live to the maximum of 120 years old. By then. Thinking of this, Chen Ziya fell silent. Lin Changqing also noticed Chen Ziya's abnormality. After thinking about it for a while, he understood that she should be thinking of her family. After hesitating for a while, Lin Changqing asked directly, "Junior sister, do you miss your family?" Chen Ziya said yet, obviously not in a very good mood. After waiting for a while, she spoke again, "You have been away from home for so long, and I don't know how your family is. Are your parents in good health? Has your brother started a family? Is your sister married?" Lin Changqing thought for a while and comforted, "If you want to see them often, you can consider settling your family in Qingyuan City, but I am afraid that they will be reluctant to leave their hometown." Chen Ziya's eyes lit up when she heard this, but soon dimmed again. She shook her head and said, "They probably won't agree to leave. For them, their hometown where they have always lived and the familiar environment are the most suitable places." Lin Changqing nodded, agreeing with this statement. Then he thought of something and comforted her, "At least you still have your grandmother and great-grandmother who can accompany you for a long time." Chen Ziya nodded, and her mood improved a little. She apologized to Lin Changqing, "I'm sorry, senior brother, I ruined your good mood. This is human nature and inevitable. Junior sister, don't blame yourself. By the way, I have roughly understood that the speed of this passenger ship is slower than that of a normal spirit boat. It will take about 4 or 5 days to reach the next destination, the landing field of Dongyang Prefecture. It is too boring to stay in the room for such a long time. I just saw it when I got on the boat. There are many cultivators setting up stalls on the first floor. How about we find some time to go for a walk? Chen Ziyi knew that Lin Changqing wanted to distract her, but she was really not in the mood, so she responded, then let's wait until tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I'm a little tired today. When Lin Changqing heard her say this, he knew that she had not adjusted her mood yet, and he did not force her. It happened that the passenger ship was gradually gaining altitude, and it should be about to set off. So after Lin Changqing talked with Chen Ziyi for a while, he said goodbye and returned to his room. Chapter 132, Street Stalls on Passenger Ship. Lin Changqing used the J token in his hand to open room A15. He found that the layout was the same as Chen Ziyi's room, so he had no interest in exploring. However, he still had to check the room carefully to see if there were any surveillance arrays or other things that could monitor him. Fortunately, he found nothing after searching around. Sitting in the living room, thinking about the destination of this time, Jianzhou Prefecture, according to the current speed of travel, it takes about 4 or 5 days to reach a prefecture, and 1 or 2 days to load and unload goods and wait for guests. It takes about a month to reach Tongshan village. Fortunately, Lin Changqing and his friends are not in a hurry. It is no wonder the few foundation-building cultivators would choose this kind of passenger ship to travel. It is too slow. Unless it is a relatively long journey, such as crossing multiple spheres of influence, then this method is the safest. However, Lin Changqing has no plans to take such a long journey for the time being, so he will just learn about it. Lin Changqing did not dare to use up all his energy on the passenger ship, so he had to reduce the time for practicing the Thunder Sutra. But it is not long after the Chenqi hour, it is still early, and it is not the time to practice the Thunder Sutra. The purple crystal scorpions in the Sanbao Spirit Beast bracelet were just fed last night, and there are also ice crystals and black crystal rocks in the space where they are, so don't pay attention to them for the time being. Chuai will be released to breathe. After all, he is used to flying freely, and it is not good to stay in the space of the Spirit Beast bracelet all the time. With a thought, Chuai appeared in front of Lin Changqing. Seeing his master, Chuai became excited, but unfortunately the living room was relatively small and he could not fly. Lin Changqing held it and smoothed its feathers, while Chuai used his head to butt Lin Changqing. This can be regarded as the interaction between the master and the servant. Now Chuai is already a spirit beast of the first stage and the late stage, but unfortunately it has only been in the late stage for a short time. It has only been 3 or 4 months, less than half a year. Lin Changqing really dare not improve its strength. Wait for a while. After playing for a while, he remembered that he still had a white soul-seeking mouse, so he gave it some 100 flowers soul-intoxicating wine to heal its soul injuries. A few days have passed, and it should wake up. He probed his spiritual consciousness into the 3 treasures soul beast bracelet, and saw a white mouse sleeping soundly in a small space. Could it be that it hasn't woken up yet? Lin Changqing was a little confused, so he took it out of the soul beast bracelet and held it in his palm. He felt the spiritual pressure emanating from it, and it was already in the late first stage, proving that it had successfully absorbed and digested all the 100 flowers soul-intoxicating wine. He poked its belly with his finger, and the little guy was still quite alert. He felt someone poking him, and he woke up immediately, looking at the man and the bird in front of him. He couldn't help but shudder, because the eyes of this natural enemy were too unfriendly, staring at it like looking at food, too scary. Lin Changqing didn't care about that and said to it directly, "Little guy, has the injury on your soul healed? If it is healed, you should call 4 times, if it is not healed, you should call twice." Soon the little guy called 4 times. He knew that this golden-winged bird was the spiritual beast of this human, and this human wanted to sign a contract with it. It also wanted to sign it, so that it could guarantee that it would not be eaten by its natural enemy. "Since you have recovered, I will sign a contract with you. Are you ready?" The little guy raised his 2 front paws and squatted on his 2 hind paws, nodding at Lin Changqing. He looked cute. Lin Changqing laughed. This little guy looked quite smart. At that moment, he moved his mind and began to recite the spell of the master-servant contract, then used the golden thread light needle to prick his finger, forcing out a drop of blood containing his own spiritual energy, and dripped it on the little guy's forehead. Soon, the little guy absorbed it into a sea of consciousness. He could sense the existence of the little guy in his mind, and through the contract, he could also feel the waves of submission from the little guy. Since it was already his own rat, he would give it a name. Seeing that it was all white and furry, he would call it for ball. He conveyed his meaning to it through the contract, but he didn't expect it to agree all of a sudden. It looked quite happy, jumping around on the table. In fact, it was like this. Lin Changqing was willing to raise a spirit beast that didn't cost much resources, but he didn't want a spirit beast that required a lot of resources. Now, Lin Changqing was under a lot of pressure to raise this group of purple crystal scorpions. Every other day, he had to eat a first-level high-quality spirit crystal. Each piece was worth about 150 spirit stones, which was 2,250 spirit stones a month, and 27,000 spirit stones a year. Ordinary cultivators couldn't afford it at all. Now, not counting those few high-quality spirit stones, Lin Changqing's entire fortune was only about 65,000 spirit stones, which could only support the consumption of the purple crystal scorpion group for about 2.5 years. They are simply super resource-consuming tycoons. It is not an exaggeration to say that they grow up eating spiritual stones. And if they are promoted in the future, they will definitely have to change to higher-level spiritual crystals. At that time, the consumption will definitely be greater. It is really a bit unaffordable to support them. So if there is another resource-consuming tycoon, Lin Changqing may go bankrupt directly. Thinking about it, Chuai is the best. They can be self-reliant and consume less. When they are promoted to the second level in the future, they may be able to earn spiritual stones to support their family. Liu Yaoqiang's family is also very good. Anyway, they only need to eat grass, and they can also help with work, promote the birth of spiritual medicines and plants, and can also work part-time as spiritual therapists. They are simply the representatives of good employees in the world of cultivation. Now there is another spiritual beast, Maoqiu, who can also work and does not eat too much. When we go to places like Qinghai Mountains in the future, Maoqiu will be very useful. Lin Changqing likes such spiritual beasts the most. Since it just joined Lin Changqing's pet family today, he decided to reward it with a soul-raising pill. It should have eaten this thing before. He held it in his hand and started chewing it. Now the passenger ship is flying in the sky. It's still early. Lin Changqing wants to go to the first floor of the passenger ship to take a look. Just now, he saw someone setting up a stall, and Lin Changqing's heart was itching. Now there is time, let's go down and take a look. He took back the soul beast bracelet from Chuai. As for the 4-ball, he hesitated for a moment, and finally put it in his arms and told it not to make a sound. Then he went out and opened the band on the door with a jade card in his hand. Looking at the closed door of Jiaoyu next door, Lin Changqing thought about it and still didn't call Chen Ziya. Going down from the top floor to the first floor, as soon as he entered the first floor, he immediately felt noisy. There were more than 100 stalls at a glance, and there were also many monks visiting the stalls. There were always 200 or 300 people. Lin Changqing liked this atmosphere the most, and immediately started to visit the first stall from the entrance. The stall owner was a middle-aged cultivator. One could smell a faint aroma of elixir when approaching. The items sold were also several common elixirs. He seemed to be an alchemist. Unfortunately, Lin Changqing would not buy elixirs from casual cultivators outside. After walking a few steps, another stall sold talismans and talisman-making supplies. Lin Changqing stopped and searched the stall. In the end, he bought a few dozen first-grade high-quality talisman papers, thinking that this thing was a consumable. No matter how much he bought, his mother would use it up. The next stall sold various sundries, low-level magic tools, storage bags, piles of empty jade boxes, jade bottles, etc. Lin Changqing had a lot of them on him, so he was naturally not interested and did not stop. Chapter 133 Picking Up a Little Leak. After walking around and stopping for a while, after visiting dozens of stalls, he finally saw something good at a stall. A piece of lightning-struck wood was as thick as Lin Changqing's thigh and about 1 meter long. There were traces of cutting at both ends. It should be a relatively long spiritual material that was cut into 2 or 3 pieces. Touching this piece of lightning-struck wood, Lin Changqing clearly felt the fluctuation of the lightning-attributed spiritual material. The stall owner was an elderly monk. Lin Changqing observed him and asked, "Boss, what kind of tree is this?" "Why can't I tell?" Seeing that someone was interested in his goods, the stall owner also glanced at Lin Changqing, and then introduced, "This is my family's spiritual peach tree." It is 300 or 400 years old and was about to be promoted to the second level. It was suddenly struck by lightning some time ago, and the outer layer was burned by lightning, leaving only a bare trunk, which I cut into 3 pieces. Oh, so that's it. How are you going to sell this spiritual material? Lin Changqing asked directly. The stall owner thought for a while and made an offer. If you really want it, take it for 1,200 spirit stones. Lin Changqing heard it and shook his head repeatedly. This is only a first-grade spiritual material. You can buy a spiritual weapon with this price. How about this? Make it cheaper, 800 spirit stones and I'll take it. The stall owner also shook his head and said, even if this lightning wood is not a second-grade spiritual material, it is also a top-grade first-grade. Such a large piece of material is enough to refine 3 first-grade top-grade magic weapons, lightning-struck wood flying swords. That's not worth so much? How many spirit stones are there for 3 first-grade top-grade flying swords? You have to add auxiliary materials, and you have to ask a weapon refiner to refine it. It's not cost-effective at all. The stall owner thought for a while, took a step back and said, then give you a discount of 100 spirit stones, 1,100 spirit stones. Lin Changqing was a little impatient, and said directly, the last grade, 1,000 spirit stones deal. If you agree, I will buy the other 2 sections from you. If you don't agree, forget it. The stall owner thought for a moment and said, 3 sections of lightning-struck wood, 3,150 spirit stones, the final price. If it's not suitable, you can leave. Lin Changqing pondered for a moment before saying, then I'll take a look at the other 2 sections of lightning-struck wood first. If they are similar to this one, I'll buy it. The stall owner nodded and took out the other 2 sections of lightning-struck wood from the storage bag. After Lin Changqing carefully checked and confirmed that there was no problem, he paid the spirit stones and took away 3 sections of lightning-struck wood spirit materials. After thinking for a while, he asked the stall owner again, didn't you dig out the root part of the tree? The stall owner looked at him and shook his head and said, no, the remaining stump is still at home and has not been moved. I want to see if it will sprout new buds and grow into a spirit peach tree again. Lin Changqing nodded. Is this right? Being struck by lightning does not necessarily mean the whole plant will die. The stall owner is wise to do this. Lin Changqing didn't bother to find a bargain. After saying goodbye to the stall owner, he continued to shop. After looking at more than 20 stalls, he came to a stall that smelled particularly good. The stall owners were 2 young and beautiful female cultivators, one of whom was a little older and looked to be in her 20s, and the other looked to be 15 or 16 years old. The things they were selling were bottles of things in crystal bottles, colorful and similar to perfume. What attracted Lin Changqing's attention were these things that look very similar to the perfume in his previous life. Boss, what is this? Why is it so fragrant? Lin Changqing asked deliberately. The older female cultivator replied, these are flower essences, which are the essences extracted from fresh flowers. Of course they smell good. Lin Changqing's heart moved, and he remembered the beautiful scenery in Xiangxiang Valley in Jiang's secret realm last time. Maybe he could plant more flowers in the space. In the future, he would raise some bees to help the spiritual medicines and spiritual plants in the space to transfer pollen. With flowers, he would not have to worry about them having no food. With a plan in mind, he casually responded, what are these things used for? The younger female cultivator started to sell them. These things are only useful for female cultivators. They are mainly used for bathing and incense. They can make people happy and refresh the mind. Do you want to buy a few bottles to give to your Taoist partner? Lin Changqing shook his head. I don't have a Taoist partner yet. Do you sell flower seeds here? I want to buy some to decorate the yard. Spiritual flower seeds would be best, but ordinary flower seeds will do. The 2 female cultivators looked at each other, and the older one said, spiritual seeds are rare. We don't even have enough ourselves. But ordinary flower seeds can be sold to fellow Taoists. When Lin Changqing heard this, he said happily, thank you very much, 2 Taoist friends. I wonder how much these ordinary flower seeds are sold for. The older female cultivator took out a cloth bag from her storage bag and handed it to Lin Changqing. He chuckled and said, generally, flower seeds are not worth many spirit stones. Taoist friends, just give us 20 spirit stones. Just consider it as the fee for hiring us to collect flower seeds. This bag of flower seeds is enough to sow 20 acres of land. If it is not enough, you can wait until the flower seeds bloom and bear fruit next year, and then you can sow them yourself. Lin Changqing smiled and said, It is enough. It is enough to plant 20 acres of land. Thank you, two Taoists. After that, he took the cloth bag, took out 20 spirit stones, handed them to the older female cultivator, and then said goodbye and left. There are still dozens of stalls behind, but unfortunately there is nothing to gain from the stroll, let alone finding any halo items. After all, it is just a small stall spontaneously set up on the passenger ship. I didn't have much expectations in the first place, and Lin Changqing was already very satisfied with these gains. Back to the top floor, in his room, now on the passenger ship of Wanbao Pavilion, there must be 1 or 2 high-level cultivators sitting in charge, so Lin Changqing didn't dare to enter the space. If he was discovered, it would be troublesome. Therefore, I can only wait for the opportunity to plant these flower seeds I just bought. What Lin Changqing was most satisfied with this time was that he harvested these 3 sections of first-grade top-grade thunder attribute spiritual materials. Although they were first-grade spiritual materials, they were not common. The main reason was that thunder attribute spiritual materials were rare to begin with, and when you encounter them, there must be even fewer. When he first saw these spiritual materials, he already had an idea in his mind, which was to ask Hu Yana for help to see if they could be refined into special second-grade thunder attribute suppressants. Of course, Lin Changqing knew that it would not be easy to cross from the first-grade top to the second-grade, even if it was a second-grade inferior product. But it happened that Lin Changqing had a section of the wood core of the second-grade top-grade lightning-struck wood that he had bought from Wanbao Pavilion before in his storage bag. After all, they were all thunder attribute spiritual materials of the same origin. Let's see if we can use them reasonably. Anyway, as long as it is a second-grade thunder attribute spiritual tool that can be used as a suppressant for the thunder acupoint, it will be fine. Of course, the more the better. At that time, these spiritual materials will be handed over to Hu Yana, who will find someone to help Lin Changqing refine them. I believe that Hu Yana will be able to complete Lin Changqing's idea. And there will not be any great requirements for the power of these spiritual tools that are specially used as suppression objects, so Lin Changqing's idea should be easier to realize. Of course, these will have to wait until the next time Lin Changqing goes to Qinghai Insect to meet Hu Yana, and the two will communicate face-to-face to know whether there is such a possibility. However, even if Lin Changqing's idea cannot succeed, he will entrust Hu Yana to refine the second-level top-grade lightning-struck wood heart into top-grade spiritual tool. Anyway, the spiritual materials must be used. This is the importance of professional channels. Of course, this is also why Lin Changqing will work hard to maintain his relationship with Hu Yana and Zhao Mingxia. Professional matters should be handed over to professionals. Even as if Wu Tuangsun pill will be handled in this way in the future. Of course, it is a bit too early to say this now. Lin Changqing will not go to Zhao Mingxia until she has the ability. I believe that she will be able to help Lin Changqing deal with it by then. After adjusting to the leak, he was happy and excited. There should be nothing to do today. Chen Ziya was in a bad mood and probably wouldn't come to see him today. So Lin Changqing was ready to start practicing the Thunder Sutra. After consuming the extra energy, he would rest. He arranged his time very well without any waste. Of course, before starting to practice, he had to take the fur ball out of his arms. Otherwise the sweat he would shed later would be enough for it to take a bath. He found the fur ball in his arms. The little guy was quite obedient. Lin Changqing asked it not to make any sound. When he was shopping at the stalls just now, it didn't make any sound. It was really a smart little guy. Suddenly I thought of a question. I wonder if the fur ball is male or female? The balloon happened to be in his hand. Lin Changqing turned it over on its belly. He was about to check it carefully, but he didn't expect the fur ball to struggle desperately. Lin Changqing had no choice but to put it on the table and gave up the idea of giving it a physical examination. After all, it was his own rat, so he should still show some respect. Since he was not going to give it a physical examination, Lin Changqing had no choice but to ignore it. He got into position and began to practice the Thunder Sutra, generating thunder-attributed spiritual energy and stimulating the acupuncture points. It was estimated that in another 20 days, he should be able to open another thunder acupoint, and he would be one step closer to the limit of 36 acupoints in the key refining stage. By then, when all 36 acupoints were successfully opened, the power of the Thunder Sutra should be initially formed. Chapter 134 Chen Ziya's Invitation. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. It was only 2 or 3 days away from the next destination of the passenger ship, Dongyang Prefecture. Lin Changqing thought that Chen Ziya would wait until Dongyang Prefecture to come out. Unexpectedly, not long after Lin Changqing finished practicing, someone triggered the restriction on the door. When he opened the door, it was Chen Ziya. Junior sister Chen, come in first. Lin Changqing was a little surprised, but he still hurriedly invited Chen Ziya to enter the living room. As soon as the two sat down, Chen Ziya said, "Senior brother, didn't you say that there are street stalls on the first floor of the passenger ship? Let's go and have a look together." Lin Changqing was a little speechless. Chen Ziya must rarely go out to visit these street stalls, or maybe she has never been there once. So Lin Changqing opened his mouth and asked, "Junior sister, have you ever been to the market in Qinghai City before?" Chen Ziya nodded. "My grandmother took me there a few times, and I've also been to the market inside Qinghai Sect a few times." Lin Changqing continued to ask, "Has Senior Chen ever taken you to the street stalls?" Chen Ziya shook her head. "My grandmother would go directly to the familiar shops to buy whatever she needed, but she never took me to the street stalls." Lin Changqing said, "That's right, the street stalls in the market outside don't open as early as those shops that are one by one. They come from all directions and don't open that early. The same is true for the street stalls on this passenger ship. We can make a pot of tea first, and it will be almost done when we finish drinking it. However, my tea-making skills are not as good as my junior sister's, so you just have to make do with it." After that, he took out tea sets and a box of green jade tea from the storage bag, ready to make tea for Chen Ziya. After hearing what Lin Changqing said, Chen Ziya suddenly realized that she had come too early. She quickly said to Lin Changqing, "Sorry, senior brother. I came too early. Otherwise, let me make tea." When Lin Changqing heard that Chen Ziya wanted to make tea himself, he hesitated for a moment and said, "No. You are a guest, so there is no reason for me to let you make tea." Chen Ziya was not shy and directly reached out to take the tea set and make tea like flowing water. In this case, Lin Changqing didn't say anything and just sat and waited for tea. After quietly appreciating Chen Ziya's tea art for a while, it was still so pleasing to the eye. He couldn't help but praise, "Junior sister's tea-making skills are really unique. If tea art can also be rated, junior sister should be at least master level." Chen Ziya was a little embarrassed when she heard Lin Changqing praising herself like this. She explained, "It's mainly because my grandmother and great-grandmother both like to drink tea. I've made a lot of tea, so I've become more skilled. Brother, please have some tea." After saying that, she handed a cup of Qinghai tea to Lin Changqing. "Thank you, sister." After saying that, she picked up the teacup in front of her and smelled it. It seemed to be a little more fragrant than what she brewed. Then she took a sip carefully and nodded. It was indeed better than what she brewed. Chen Ziya also picked up the tea, smelled it first, nodded, and then took a sip. After tasting it carefully, her eyes lit up and she asked, "Brother, what kind of tea is this? It seems to have some refreshing effect." Lin Changqing chuckled and said, "Junior sister, you are indeed an expert. This is the second-level green jade tea, which does have the effect of calming the nerves and refreshing the brain. Junior sister, if you like it, I will give you this small box." After hearing this, Chen Ziya hesitated for a moment, but still accepted Lin Changqing's gift and said, thank you, senior brother, then I will accept it shamelessly. This green jade spiritual tea should be helpful in comprehending the formation." Lin Changqing smiled and said, "It's good that it's helpful. If you like it, I will give you some every year in the future." Chen Ziya shook her head. "No, if you give it to me occasionally, I can still accept it shamelessly. If senior brother gives it to me every year, I can't afford it." Lin Changqing smiled and didn't argue with her on this issue. Chen Ziya's words just now also reminded Lin Changqing that Qinghai tea is still quite precious. Maybe he doesn't feel anything when he drinks it often. Now Lin Changqing is considering whether to expand the number of Qinghai tea trees in the space. After thinking about it, he decided to wait until he has time to plant more Qinghai tea. Anyway, there is a lot of land in the space. Many places are empty and not used. Planting Qinghai tea trees will increase the utilization rate of space. Plant more at that time. Anyway, the extra Qinghai tea can be given as a gift to elders or friends. Lin Changqing drank tea while appreciating Chen Ziya's tea art. The two chatted casually. Lin Changqing shared the interesting things that happened in Jiufeng Mountain when he was a child. Chen Ziya shared her growth experience in Qinghai sect with Lin Changqing. Generally speaking, her experience was not as interesting as Lin Changqing's childhood. Soon, more than an hour passed. Seeing that the time was almost up, Lin Changqing said, "Junior sister, now is the right time. Let's go down to the first floor and take a look." Chen Ziya readily agreed. After the two of them closed the door, they walked to the first floor together. When they were about to reach the first floor, Lin Changqing suddenly remembered that he had not yet told Chen Ziya some details. He hurriedly pulled her and said, "Junior sister, when you see elixirs, magic tools, etc. on the street stalls later, don't rush to buy them. Many of them have problems, or the quality cannot be guaranteed. If you have anything you want, we will discuss it and decide." Chen Ziya smiled and said, "I understand, don't worry, senior brother." Lin Changqing nodded. It's good that Chen Ziya can listen to advice, so that she won't be easily deceived. The two walked into the street stall area on the first floor. Lin Changqing had been here 2 days ago. This time he was mainly here to accompany Chen Ziya to take a look. The first stall she entered was still the middle-aged monk selling pills. Chen Ziya was quite curious and stopped in front of the stall. She studied the pills on the stall and found that they were indeed inferior to those in the sect. After comparing several kinds of pills, she realized that what Lin Changqing said made sense. Although it was indeed cheaper, it was obviously not suitable for her. After putting down the pills, she walked to the next stall, which was a stall selling various sundries. There were quite a lot of things on display: storage bags, spirit plant bags, magic tools, jade boxes of various sizes, materials from some monsters, and even some ores. It was a mess. Chen Ziya stopped and looked. If there was nothing she was interested in, she left and went to the next stall. There were more than a dozen stalls in the same situation. Lin Changqing followed her and took a look to see if there was anything he needed on the stall. He found that although he had been here 2 days ago, when he came today, there were still some stalls that were not there 2 days ago. It seems that the mobility of these stalls is also quite large. Chen Ziya, who was standing in front of him, finally found something that interested her. She turned around and waved to Lin Changqing. Lin Changqing looked over and found that they were familiar faces. They were the two female monks who sold flower essences that day. He nodded to them as a greeting. Chen Ziya said to Lin Changqing, "Brother, I want to buy a few bottles of this." Lin Changqing nodded. "This is flower essence. If you like it, buy it. Let these two bosses introduce it to you and see what kind of smell you like." The two female monks, seeing that business was coming, also began to introduce it to Chen Ziya enthusiastically. The three women were talking happily there, and occasionally opened the bottles and let Chen Ziya smell them. Just here, they were delayed for half an hour. Finally, Lin Changqing saw that Chen Ziya bought 12 bottles of flower essences with different scents and paid 600 spirit stones. She didn't seem to feel sad at all. This made Lin Changqing wonder if he should also buy a few bottles to give to his mother, aunt and sister. But after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. The 3 flowers rejuvenating pill was enough. It's better to save some spirit stones. The Purple Crystal Scorpion Group, a big consumer of resources, is still waiting for Lin Changqing. Chapter 135, Array Fragments. After buying more than a dozen bottles of flower essence, Chen Ziya became even more interested. She walked and stopped along the way and looked at dozens of stalls. Lin Changqing also looked around to see if he could find something that interested him. Unexpectedly, at this time, Chen Ziya turned around and waved at him. Lin Changqing knew that she had found something that interested her again. When he got closer, he saw that it was a stall selling magic tools, but the thing Chen Ziya was interested in was not a magic tool, but a formation plate that was broken into 3 pieces, which was as big as 2 palms when put together. What Lin Changqing didn't understand was, would it still be useful after being broken into pieces like this? But since Chen Ziya asked him to come over, it meant that she wanted him to help get this thing. He didn't need to ask, he knew what he should do. He asked the boss directly, "Boss, how much are these array disk fragments for?" The boss glanced at them and said, "These 3 array disk fragments are 1,000 spirit stones." When Lin Changqing heard this, he shook his head repeatedly. "Boss, I'll buy a brand new first level array disk, which is only 1,000 spirit stones. If you really want to sell it, just offer a realistic price." The boss thought for a while and said, "Then I'll give it to you at a cheaper price. I'll charge you 800 spirit stones." Lin Changqing rolled his eyes and said to Chen Ziya, "Junior sister, what's the use of this junk for you? If you want an array disk, let's buy a new one." Chen Ziya was really smart. She understood what Lin Changqing meant in seconds and cooperated with him, saying, "This array disk is broken into several pieces and it is really unusable. I just think it is relatively old in form and a little different from the popular array disks now, so I want to buy it for research. It's too expensive, so forget it." Lin Changqing nodded. "Forget it. 800 spirit stones plus a little more are enough to buy a new one." The two turned around and prepared to leave, but the stall owner hurriedly stopped them and said, "Don't go yet, I'll make it cheaper. You guys take another look." Lin Changqing shook his head and pulled Chen Ziyi to the next stall. The boss was anxious. It was rare for someone to be interested in these pieces of junk. If you miss the opportunity, you will miss it. He hurriedly said, "I'll sell it to you for 300 spirit stones." Lin Changqing said without turning his head, "Just 100 spirit stones, no more." Chen Ziyi once again cooperated with Lin Changqing and said, "Brother, let's forget it. I've just seen it and there's no need to buy it. We don't have many spirit stones anymore, so let's save some spirit stones." "Oh, okay. Sorry, boss, we don't want it." After saying that, he turned around and left. The boss was very anxious and hurriedly grabbed Lin Changqing's hand, not letting him go, shouting, "You can't leave. You just bargained for 100 spirit stones. I agree and sell it to you. Pay the spirit stones quickly." After saying that, he stuffed the 3 pieces of array disk fragments into Lin Changqing's hands, not giving Lin Changqing even a chance to refuse. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyi looked at each other, both trying hard not to laugh. Of course, they had to do the whole show, and Lin Changqing talked to the boss for a few more words, but in the end, there was really no other way. Lin Changqing reluctantly paid 100 spirit stones and bought the 3 pieces of array disk fragments. Then the two looked at each other, and tacitly continued to browse the stalls, looking at dozens of stalls, and after half an hour, they finally returned to Lin Changqing's room on the top floor. Just after closing the restrictions in the room, the two looked at each other, and then both laughed, and it took a long time to stop. Lin Changqing said, "Junior sister, you are really kind-hearted and smart. Although this is the first time we work together, I didn't expect that we can work together so well." Chen Ziyi chuckled and said, "Senior brother, I didn't expect that shopping at street stalls would be so interesting. Although I only picked up a small bargain this time, it seems quite interesting." Lin Changqing asked curiously, "Is this thing really still useful after it is broken into pieces like this?" Chen Ziyi explained with a smile, "This is a 3rd level array plate. The engraving on it should be the 3 talents golden light array. It is indeed broken and cannot be used. But the person who refined this array plate, for some reason, actually added mithril to it. This material can be refined again. Even if only 1 or 2 taels of this thing can be refined, it can be worth more than 20,000 spirit stones. Moreover, this array plate is twice as large as an ordinary array plate. It will definitely not be able to extract only 1 or 2 taels. It is estimated that there will be about 2 taels." After hearing this, Lin Changqing opened his eyes wide and couldn't help asking, "Is this thing a 4th level spiritual material? Why is it so expensive? Would 2 taels of mithril be worth 40,000 spirit stones?" Chen Ziyi nodded and said, "It is indeed a 4th level spiritual material, but it is quite special. The array plate or array engraved with mithril is added to ensure that there will be no loss of spiritual energy during transmission. Therefore, many large arrays need it, especially the mountain protection array or large teleportation array of the sect, which must require mithril. A standard large teleportation array requires about 8 million spiritual stones to build, of which the cost of purchasing mithril and space crystals may account for half. Like the giant maze we encountered in the center of Jiang's secret realm, it definitely used a lot of mithril. If it could be found at that time, the harvest would be great. It's a pity that I am not good at learning skills and can't break the array. Otherwise, I can get out the array flags and array bases inside. These are also very precious treasures." Lin Changqing nodded, "Now I know how precious this thing is. It happened that I got the inheritance of the 4th level refining technique in the secret realm, which also contains some introductions to spiritual materials of various levels. When I have time in the future, I will also flip through it and gain some knowledge, so as not to recognize the treasures in the future." Chen Ziyi also nodded in agreement and said, "It's always good to learn more." Suddenly thinking of something, Lin Changqing asked curiously, "Junior sister, are all the inner disciples of Qingyuan sect so powerful? Not every one of them is as knowledgeable as you, and can easily determine that the array contains mithril, right?" Chen Ziyi laughed when she heard it, and explained, "It's not like that. In my opinion, Many inner disciples are also very ordinary. It may be because they are from the sect and have some advantages in status. Of course, there must be some who are more elite, like the Chen Hao we met in the secret realm, and the top 100 brothers and sisters in the sect now. These people are the core elite disciples of the sect, but when it comes to judging whether there is mithril in the array, it can only be said that everyone has his own specialty. Just like you are a spiritual plant master, then you must know the 3 sacred trees in the world of cultivation, right? And I am a formation master. I usually like to read books. It is also normal to understand some spiritual materials closely related to the formation, isn't it? Lin Changqing thought for a while and nodded. Is that so? Then I'm relieved. Otherwise, the inner disciples of each sect are all at the level of my junior sister, and we won't be able to survive. Chen Ziya couldn't help laughing after hearing this. She knew that her senior brother said this on purpose to praise her, but she was still very proud in her heart. After all, it was indeed she who discovered that there was mithril in the array disk, and she picked up a small leak. Lin Changqing took a look at the pieces of array disk fragments and asked, "These pieces of array disk fragments can't be processed outside, right? It's not safe." Chen Ziya thought for a while and said, "Let's give it to Grandma. We can't refine it ourselves. If we sell it at that time, we can give the spirit stones to senior brother." Lin Changqing thought about it and said, "Why don't we give it to great-grandmother? She is a 4th-level array master, so it will definitely be useful." Chen Ziya thought about it and agreed, "Well, just give it to great-grandmother directly. She will definitely be very happy to see me pick up mithril. Since we have decided to give it to the great-grandmother, the thing will be kept by Chen Ziya." Lin Changqing said, "After 2 or 3 days when we arrive at Dongyang Prefecture, we will go to the street stall square in Dongyang Market to see if we can get anything." Chen Ziya was very happy to hear that, and agreed, "That's great, senior brother, please take me to places like this more often in the future." Lin Changqing laughed. It seems that junior sister is very confident in herself. But you must be mentally prepared. You can't find good things every time. You will know when you have more experience in the future. Chen Ziya nodded and said, "I understand, but I just want to take a look. Maybe I will find it." It seems that Chen Ziya got addicted after picking up a bargain once. Seeing her full of confidence, Lin Changqing could only agree to her. "Okay. Let's go together when the time comes. I will definitely not forget you." After the two talked for a while, Chen Ziya said goodbye and went back. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Falling. Believe me. The next morning, Chen Ziya came to see Lin Changqing again, but this time she didn't come so early, and the time was just right. The two went to the first floor again and swept through the stalls that they didn't finish yesterday. Except for the 2 spiritual herbs that Lin Changqing harvested, both of which were ordinary spiritual herbs that were not in the space, there was nothing else. Chen Ziya was fine, walking in front with great interest. This time she didn't harvest anything, and it didn't seem to affect her mood. She was quite interested in some messy little things, but fortunately, she just looked at them and didn't buy them. When the two returned to the room on the top floor, Chen Ziya still looked unsatisfied. With her cold personality, it was rare for her to be so interested in something. Lin Changqing felt that he should support her more. In the next 2 days, the two did not go to the first floor to visit the stalls. That is, Chen Ziya came over for a while every morning, drank tea together, chatted for a while, and went back. Generally, she didn't stay too long. In addition, Chen Ziya also found the fur ball in Lin Changqing's room. She liked it as soon as she saw it, and she would stroke the fur ball for a while every time she came. It seems that no matter what kind of girl, they all like this kind of furry little animal. If Lin Changqing had not already contracted the fur ball, he would have considered giving it to Chen Ziya. The passenger ship of Wanbao Pavilion arrived at Dongyang City, and it was already evening when it arrived at the landing field. The crew of Wanbao Pavilion notified everyone through the loudspeaker array that the passenger ship would load and unload goods here and wait for passengers, which would take a total of 2 days. Let all guests who are going to Dongyang City or Fengshi pay attention and don't miss the departure time of the passenger ship. Lin Changqing has already discussed with Chen Ziya to rest on the passenger ship for 1 night, and the two will set off to Dongyang Fangshi for a stroll around the morning of the 10th hour. Now they are at the landing field of Dongyang City, which is only 10 miles away from Dongyang City. It is a little farther from Dongyang Fangshi, about 30 miles, but this distance is a small problem for cultivators and can be reached quickly. The next morning, after Lin Changqing finished his practice, he saw that the time was almost up, so he went to the next door to call Chen Ziya. As soon as the restriction on the door was triggered, Chen Ziya immediately opened the door, packed up and walked out. It seemed that she had been waiting for Lin Changqing. After leaving the passenger ship of Wanbao Pavilion, Lin Changqing took out a flying boat from the storage bag, and then the two of them controlled the flying boat to fly to Dongyang Fang City. Because it was only about 30 miles away, there was no need to release Chuai. Just after flying for more than 10 miles, when passing a forest, a beam of red light suddenly shot out from the forest. When Lin Changqing saw the red light coming, it was too late to control the flying boat to avoid it. He could only rush to Chen Ziya and hug her. With a thought, 3 thunder shields appeared around the two of them. Boom! A big hole broke in the flying boat under the feet of the two people, and the debris flew everywhere. The flying boat lost control and fell diagonally into the woods. Chen Ziya only realized at this time that they were attacked by surprise and began to tremble with fear. Lin Changqing was also panicked when he was attacked, but he immediately realized that the more panicked he was, the easier it would be to die. He must go back alive and not die here. Time is precious. Lin Changqing only said 2 sentences to Chen Ziya. The first sentence was, "Trust me." The second sentence was, "After landing, run in the direction you came from." It sounds long, but in fact it was only 3 or 4 seconds. The flying boat crashed into the woods with a boom. Fortunately, it fell diagonally, and there were some branches to slow it down. In addition, the 3 thunder shields around the two people also blocked some damage. The two of them only suffered some minor injuries. They did not dare to delay time. They pulled Chen Ziya out of the falling flying boat and rushed to the direction of the landing field. At the same time, they communicated with the 3 treasures of the spirit beast bracelets. The purple crystal scorpions were like laying eggs, scattered on the road they ran through, but they were all invisible. After releasing the purple crystal scorpions, they suddenly had an idea and released Chuai as well. Lin Changqing's spiritual sense was fully open, and he had been paying attention to the dynamics around him. About 100 meters behind him, 5 monks holding magic weapons rushed out. There were 4 men and 1 woman. Among them, 1 man and 1 woman were known to Lin Changqing. One was the young woman who approached him at the beginning, and the other was the middle-aged stall owner who sold elixirs at the entrance of the stall on the first floor of the passenger ship. The remaining 3 monks also looked a little familiar. They must have seen each other when they were visiting the stalls on the boat, but Lin Changqing didn't pay special attention. The 5 monks who rushed up behind only saw that after the flying boat fell, the target man and woman rushed out of the flying boat and ran desperately in the direction they came from. On the way, they released a spiritual beast, the golden wingbird. But in their opinion, all these were in vain. All 5 people had magic amulets on their feet, defense amulets on their bodies, and offensive magic weapons in their hands, and they were desperately chasing after the target. Both sides had their own plans, but Lin Changqing was 1 step ahead. He used his escape to set a death trap for the monks who were chasing him in a very short time. He also released the spirit beast Chuai to interfere with the judgment of the monks behind him, making people feel that they had already used all their means and rushed up without hesitation. Soon, they tasted the power of the situation. The tall monk who was in the front suddenly let out a sharp and piercing scream, and then twitched and rolled on the ground in pain. A few people behind him couldn't stop and rushed over the tall monk. When they reacted and stopped, they had already rushed out more than 10 meters. But it was too late. They had fallen into a death trap. The second person to suffer was the middle-aged monk who sold elixirs. After a shrill scream, he twitched and rolled on the ground in pain. Lin Changqing's consciousness had been paying attention to the situation behind him. Seeing this, he had an idea and asked the purple crystal scorpion not to sting him for the time being. The remaining 2 men and 1 woman, 3 cultivators, realized that something was wrong, no matter how dumb they were. One of the male cultivators shouted, "Watch your feet. They must have spilled something on the ground. Everyone, fly with your flying tools." However, at this time, Lin Changqing's golden needles had already arrived, and they were arranged in a row at a very fast speed. The 2 defensive talismans on the male cultivator who shouted only blocked the first 2 needles, and the third one pierced his brain. His body paused and he fell straight to the ground. This is the advantage of having a strong spiritual sense. Others have to desperately get close to about 10 feet to use magic tools to attack, but Lin Changqing can easily use flying needles from 100 or 200 meters away to kill a robber cultivator. The other male cultivator reacted quickly and flew up with his sword, but the spiritual sense of an ordinary key refining stage can only support the control of 2 magic tools at most. Now this male cultivator is flying with his sword, trying to escape from here. At the same time, he controls another flying sword to resist the dispute of Chui. However, that was all. After a loud thunder, the body of the male monk flying the sword was torn into pieces. He died very quickly, and of course, there was no pain. The last young woman was not so lucky. She was a bit slower in reaction and was stung by the purple crystal scorpion. After a sharp scream, she fell to the ground and twitched all over. It seemed that she had lost the ability to resist. Her hair was disheveled, and she could no longer see the style of the beautiful young woman who approached Lin Changqing. This sneak attack on Lin Changqing and his men started quickly and ended even faster. Chen Ziya was still confused. How could it be over before she ran far? Lin Changqing had no time to waste now. There were explosions, screams, and thunder just now. Maybe someone would hear the sound and come to check soon. He quickly knocked out the 3 monks who fell to the ground and lost their ability to resist, and stripped them of all their equipment, which was actually storage bags, spiritual plant bags, and magic tools. Then he tied up the 3 unconscious captives and put them into the 3 small spaces of the 3 treasures, spirit beast bracelet. He would find time to interrogate them again to find out what happened during the attack. Then he began to pick up the magic weapons that fell on the ground, as well as the spoils of the 2 dead robbers. The unlucky guy who was blown to pieces only found a storage bag and a flying sword. The other flying sword was blown away to an unknown place. He recalled all the purple crystal scorpions and used the fireball technique to clean up the scene. The whole process took less than 1/10 of a minute. It was neat and smooth, with a professional and efficient look, which stunned Chen Ziya. Chapter 137, The Cause of the God-Breaking Crossbow. Fortunately, after Lin Changqing's operation, Chen Ziya finally came back to her senses. She couldn't help but secretly rejoice that she was out with Lin Changqing. If she had gone out alone, she would have been dead. She would have definitely fallen here on the spot. Lin Changqing didn't have time to think so clearly. He pulled her and asked her to take out a flying boat. The 2 of them had to leave here quickly. Chen Ziya quickly took out a flying boat, and the 2 flew to Dongyangfang City. This time they flew higher, which was also Lin Changqing's request. Just now, Lin Changqing didn't fly so high because Dongyangfang City was more than 10 miles ahead. It was only about 40 or 50 meters above the ground. There was a reason for choosing this height. The effective range of the control weapon of a general key refining cultivator is about 10 feet. This height is enough to avoid most of the attacks of the key refining cultivator. Unexpectedly, he was still hit down by someone. If he had flown at an altitude of about 200 meters just now, with Lin Changqing's consciousness, he should have been able to react and avoid the attack of the red light. Fortunately, it has passed, and soon Dongyang Market will be in sight. No one should dare to attack at this distance. The 2 landed not far from the entrance of the market, and recalled Chui back to the spirit beast bag. The 2 spent some time at the entrance of the market, and each of them spent 2 spirit stones to get a pass to enter and exit Dongyang Market. After successfully entering Dongyang Market, both of them couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Changqing said to Chen Ziya, "Junior sister, we have all suffered some injuries just now. Let's find a place to rest, take pills to recuperate, and then go to the street stalls square for a stroll." Chen Ziya only now felt that her body was indeed a little uncomfortable, which should be the injury caused by the crash of the flying boat just now. She didn't feel it when she was in a critical situation just now, but now as soon as she relaxed, she felt a little uncomfortable. Chen Ziya nodded and said, "Okay, everything is up to you, senior brother. I don't want to see you." Lin Changqing took the lead in searching in the market and soon found a hotel. This hotel is provided to guests who only need to stay in the market for a short time, because those who need to stay for a long time will rent a cave, which is more cost-effective. The name of the hotel is Yaojian Hotel. This name is good and you can remember it at a glance. I went in and registered a suite with a certificate I just made, paid 100 spirit stones as a deposit, got a jade card access control, and then entered the suite with Chen Ziya. After talking to Chen Ziya, the two of them used their spiritual sense to carefully check the entire suite twice. After confirming that there was no problem, the two of them first found a room and took medicine to heal their wounds. Soon 2 hours passed, and Lin Changqing swallowed a breath of turbid air. Finally, he was fine. The rest of the cultivation would be restored in a few days. He came to the living room of the suite, brewed a pot of green jade tea, and waited for Chen Ziya while drinking tea. After waiting for a while, Chen Ziya also appeared. Lin Changqing saw that her complexion was okay, but he still opened his mouth to confirm. "Junior sister, are you okay?" Chen Ziya chuckled and said. "Thank you, senior brother, for saving me again. If you were not by my side, I would have died on the spot this time. My body is fine now. I will recover after 2 days of rest." Chen Ziya said this. Lin Changqing was relieved. After all, his main task was to protect her, and her safety was the most important thing. "Junior sister, don't be polite. It's good that you are fine. Then do you still want to go shopping?" Chen Ziya hurriedly said. "Yes, I will go." Lin Changqing laughed and said to Chen Ziya, "Well, before we go, we still have something to do. Please help me set up a magic array that can prevent others from detecting and can be soundproof." "This is easy, senior brother, wait a moment." Then Chen Ziya took out a formation plate and set it up in the hall of the suite. After finishing, he said to Lin Changqing, "Brother, this small 5-element maze formation can meet your 2 requirements." Lin Changqing nodded, and the two walked in. Chen Ziya activated the formation with a spell. Lin Changqing thought for a while, released a middle-aged monk, and also released a few purple crystal scorpions. The middle-aged monk was tied up and lay on the ground with a dejected look. After being released from the spirit beast bracelet, he knew that his life or death was just a thread, but he estimated that his ending would probably not be good. Lin Changqing said expressionlessly, "If you don't want to suffer physical pain, you answer what I ask, otherwise I will let you taste the taste of being stung again. Do you understand?" The middle-aged monk trembled all over and nodded woodenly. Lin Changqing continued to ask, "You planned it long ago and ambushed us there specifically, right?" The middle-aged monk hesitated for a moment and nodded again. "Why did you guys target us?" The middle-aged cultivator thought for a moment and said, "We all saw the senior from Qingyan sect sending your companions here. We didn't want to provoke you. But Hu Qingqiang said that you are disciples of a sect, and there must be enough money in your storage bags. One job is equivalent to several jobs of ordinary cultivators. In addition, you spent thousands of spirit stones on the street stalls to buy spiritual materials. We all saw it, which proves that you are indeed rich, so we chose you as our target this time." After hearing this, Lin Changqing was speechless. He had been careful enough, but he was still targeted because of a few thousand spirit stones. It seemed that he was too careless. But he didn't know if he was lucky or they were unlucky. They hit his iron plate directly, which could be regarded as clearing out a few pests for the world of immortal cultivation. Then he asked again, "Who is Hu Qingqiang, and what did you use to shoot down our flying boat?" Hu Qingqiang is the man who was blown to pieces by thunder, and the flying boat was shot down by a first-grade top-grade magic weapon, the God-breaking crossbow. Lin Changqing didn't expect that his flying boat was actually shot down by the God-breaking crossbow. It was indeed beyond his expectations. He had always thought it was some powerful magic weapon, but he didn't expect it to be just a first-grade God-breaking crossbow. He shook his head depressedly, and continued, "Tell me about the basic situation of you guys, and introduce yourself." The middle-aged cultivator nodded. "The 5 of us are all from independent cultivation, because it is too difficult for independent cultivators to practice. We lack money, companions, methods, and land. We just want to quickly obtain some cultivation resources, so we get together. Every once in a while, we will come out to look for 1 or 2 targets. After we succeed, we will exchange the things for cultivation resources. We don't contact each other much at ordinary times. We all have our own identities and occupations. The leader of us is Lu Zinai, the first tall cultivator who was stung by your spirit insect. Another one is Lu Zinan, Lu Zinai's younger brother, who has died in your hands. The one who was killed by lightning is called Hu Qingqiang. As I said just now, he's equivalent to our military advisor. He and the boss discuss the selection of targets and then convey the decision to everyone. The remaining female cultivator is called Su Mainyuang. She just joined recently. I only know that she seems to be a winemaker. She came to Qingyuan sect because she was forced to do nothing in Yuling sect. Lu Zinai knows the details. That's all I know. As for me, my name is Wang Yaozong. I embarked on the path of cultivating immortals because I got the mantle of an elder from my family several generations apart. But the path of cultivating immortals is too difficult. I am 49 years old now and I have only reached the 7th level of key refining, so I want to get some cultivation resources from Boss Lu. I am a first-level middle-grade alchemist. I can refine key-gathering pills, rejuvenating pills, key-recovering pills and 7 or 8 other kinds of pills. After saying that, he looked at Lin Changqing and begged, "Please, fellow Taoist, give me a way out. I am willing to work like a cow and a horse for fellow Taoists to refine pills. I can do anything. Please, spare my life." After saying that, he kept kowtowing on the ground. Chapter 138, Special Treatment for All Kinds of Dissatisfaction. Lin Changqing ignored his pleas, knocked him unconscious, and stuffed him back into the spirit beast bracelet. After thinking for a while, he let the leader of the robbery gang, Lu Zinai, out. Unexpectedly, he was still quite arrogant. Although he was listless when he came out, once he changed the environment, he immediately gritted his teeth and stared at Lin Changqing fiercely, as if he wanted to bite off a piece of flesh from him. Seeing him like this, Lin Changqing knew that he would definitely not cooperate obediently, so he still had to wake him up, so he simply didn't waste his breath. With a thought, a purple crystal scorpion stung his thigh with a large purple crystal needle near the third leg. Lu Zinai let out a scream on the spot, which almost pierced the eardrums of Lin Changqing and the others, and then his whole body arched up in pain, fell heavily to the ground, and began to twitch all over. In the past, the purple crystal scorpion stung people in the calf. Lin Changqing had never tried stinging other places, so this time he tried it on the leader of the robbery cultivator. Unexpectedly, the effect seemed quite good, much more significant than a previous sting on the calf. After about a quarter of an hour, Lu Zinai finally recovered, gasping for breath, his whole body wet, as if he had been fished out of the water. Lin Changqing looked at him and asked coldly, "Do you want to do it again?" Lu Zinai shook his head with difficulty and said in a hoarse voice, "Ask, I'll tell you everything." Lin Changqing asked expressionlessly, "First introduce a few people in your gang, and then introduce yourself." Lu Zinai knew that he would definitely not survive, but he really didn't want to go through the pain just now again, so he said, "We are all casual cultivators. We rob you for spirit stones and cultivation resources." Lin Changqing interrupted directly, "Lu Zinai, I want you to introduce a few members of the robbery gang, not to hear the reason why you robbed. If you want to be stung again, then continue to waste your time." When Lu Zinai heard Lin Changqing calling out his name, he knew that someone must have confessed, and he also knew that if he didn't say it, he would definitely suffer a great punishment. He shuddered at the thought. He spoke again, "My dear brother Lu Zinan, is the first cultivator you killed, and the military advisor Hu Kenqiang, the one who was split into pieces by thunder. These two people are already dead, there is nothing to say. Alchemist Wang Yaozong is another male cultivator who was captured alive. He is a little famous among the casual cultivators in Qingyuan City. However, he has to practice and make pills. Although the quality of the pills he made is average, it should be enough to support his own practice. Unfortunately, he obviously wants to impact the foundation before the age of 60, so he followed me and embarked on this road of no return. I also used his reputation among casual cultivators to find out about cultivators with rich family backgrounds, and then found an opportunity to attack, which can be regarded as a win-win situation. The remaining female cultivator, named Su Mingyang, is a winemaker. She joined recently. I only know that she sells spirit wine in a market of Yuling sect. It seems that there is a foundation building deacon of Yuling sect who took a fancy to her and the secret recipe of spirit wine and wanted to take her and the secret recipe together. She had no choice but to give up the foundation of Yuling sect and run to the sphere of influence of Qingyuan sect just to avoid the deacon of Yuling sect. I asked her to join my gang because she had a good cultivation base and was pretty, so she could easily get information from everywhere and approach the target, and she was full of resentment towards the sect cultivators. As for me, you already know my name, so there's nothing much to say. I just brought my brother out to rob and earn cultivation resources. I knew that this was a life and death business and that one day I would fail, but I didn't expect that day to come so soon." Lin Changqing curled his lips. If you walk by the river often, you will get your feet wet. He continued to ask, why do you want to find someone who is full of resentment towards the sect cultivators? Lu Xinyi frowned and explained, Hu Qingqiang said that we have been robbing casual cultivators, but the gains are not very great. If we want to find someone, we can find 1 or 2 inexperienced sect disciples to do it. This way, the gains will naturally be much greater, and doing it once can allow everyone to practice for a long time. But not everyone dares to touch the sect disciples. After all, the sect disciples all have roots. If such a person dies, someone will definitely come to investigate. In this case, ordinary robbers may not dare to make a move on you sect disciples. So they have to find 1 or 2 people who have grudges against the sect cultivators. In addition, you are at a street stall and you just spent a few thousand spirit stones casually, which is why they chose to make a move on you this time. Lin Changqing was depressed. He spent thousands of spirit stones and still got into trouble. He continued to ask, is this the nth time you have robbed the sect disciples? Lu Xinyi said dejectedly, it's the first time. I didn't expect that the first time, we would run into such a tough guy like you. Our luck is really bad. Hearing him say this, Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya looked at each other and smiled. But the two of them would not pity him. The ending of this robbery boss had been decided in Lin Changqing's mind a long time ago. Seeing that he had asked almost all the questions, Lin Changqing knocked him out again, checked the ropes on his body, and confirmed that there was no problem before putting him into the spirit beast bracelet. By the way, Chu Ai is still in the spirit beast bag. Because I didn't want to attract too much attention at the gate of the market, I put Chu Ai into the spirit beast bag at that time. Now I move it to the space of the spirit beast bracelet, which will be more comfortable for it. There is also a female captive, so let's just deal with it together. Let her out of the spirit beast bracelet. She also looks listless, but she still pays attention to her image. When Lin Changqing got her out, she sat up immediately. But Lin Changqing would not give her a good face to the captives. He said expressionlessly, if you don't want to suffer physical pain, why should I ask? Just answer what you want to say, or I'll let you taste the sting again, do you understand? The young woman knew that life and death now depended on someone else's thoughts, and she was terribly scared. When she heard what Lin Changqing said, she replied uneasily, understand, what's your name? Why did you attack us? The young woman glanced at Lin Changqing and answered woodenly. My name is Su Miniang. It's not that I want to attack you. It's Lu Xinyi and Hu Qingqiang who chose you as the target. I just followed them because I had no choice. Nonsense. As a cultivator of the 8th level of key refining, if you don't want to, can they force you? That's not the case. Not long after I arrived in Qinghai City, Lu Xinyi found me and invited me to join their hunting team. At first I refused, but he later told me that it would be difficult for independent cultivators to survive here without sticking together. I think it makes some sense, and I finally came here after a lot of hardships along the way. The spirit stones on me are almost used up, so I agreed to give it a try first. Who knew that they were all robbery cultivators? When I found out that I wanted to leave, I couldn't leave. But I really didn't kill anyone. I just helped to collect some spoils twice. Please, don't kill me. I can make wine. I am a winemaker. I can make many kinds of wine. I can also make Qinggayu spirit wine. It is because of this secret recipe that I was forced to leave the sphere of influence of the beast-taming sect. Please, since I was forced and didn't kill anyone, please spare my life. I can do anything you want me to do. I really don't want to die. After saying that, she begged with tears. Lin Changqing looked at her deeply, then turned to look at Chen Ziya, meaning to ask for her opinion. Chen Ziya also looked at him and understood what he meant. After thinking for a while, he said, brother, you caught the person, so you decide. I have no objection. But I think she can be spared. After all, she didn't commit any great evil. It's also good to let her brew spirit wine for your Lin family. Thank you fairy, thank you fairy. Su Miniang was extremely grateful to Chen Ziya when she heard her suggestion to spare her life. Then she turned to Lin Changqing and begged, young master, please spare my life. I can serve tea, do odd jobs and make wine. Lin Changqing thought about it and decided to lock her in the spirit beast bracelet first, and make a decision after careful consideration. Without saying anything else, he knocked the person unconscious, checked the ropes on her body, and after confirming that there was no problem, he put her into the spirit beast bracelet. Chen Ziya began to recover the array plate of the magic array, and it was done in a short while. Chapter 139 Jinggan Essay Statue. After interrogating several captives, he knew that it was not because of the grudges in the secret realm, nor because of any other things, that someone was planning to target him. It was only because he accidentally revealed his true colors that he was ambushed and killed. In this way, he was the one who implicated Chen Ziya. This made Lin Changqing feel relieved, at least he was in the mood to accompany Chen Ziya to the street stalls square. Because he took medicine to heal his wounds in the suite in the morning, and interrogated several captives, it took some time. When the two stepped out of the hotel door, it was already noon. But it didn't matter, the time was just right. Dongyang Market was quite large, and it felt similar to the market in Qingyuan City. After walking for a while and asking people, the two found the street stall square, but they also had other gains. At least Lin Changqing already knew where the Wanbao Pavilion and the gambling stone shop were. After accompanying Chen Ziyi to visit the street stalls, he would come back and take a look at the gambling stone shop. Today is not a special day, and there are not many people setting up stalls. However, compared with those on the first floor of the passenger ship, there are several times more. At a glance, there are about 600 or 700 stalls in the square. It is enough for Chen Ziyi to look at for a long time. Lin Changqing followed behind her, paying a little attention to her, and then searched for things that he was interested in. Of course, the most important thing was to find halo items. Next, there were spiritual seeds, spiritual medicines, spiritual plants, spiritual herbs, and spiritual crystals, as well as some things that his mother needed to make talismans. They were all his targets. Just after visiting more than 10 stalls, he came across a stall selling books. There were dozens of books on it. Lin Changqing took a closer look. Many of them were common and common martial arts secrets, such as fake earth gong, fiery gong, dead wood gong, and so on. Of course, there were also introductions to alchemy and refining. However, what Lin Changqing took a fancy to was a book Su Jinggan Fu Jing essays placed in front of the stall owner. It seemed that this should be a talisman master's notes on making talismans. He took it and flipped through it. There was quite a lot of content inside. The front part was the more common insights and notes on talisman drawing, and the back part was something Lin Changqing had never heard of. It seemed that this was a notebook of a high-level talisman master. His mother would need and like it, so she asked directly, "Boss, how much is this notebook?" The stall owner was a middle-aged monk. He took a look at Lin Changqing and introduced it. "This is a notebook of a high-level talisman master. Although it is not a talisman inheritance, it is also very precious. I see that you are an expert, so I will charge you 500 spiritual stones." Lin Changqing rolled his eyes when he heard this. He could make as many copies of this thing as he wanted, it just took some time, but it actually cost 500 spiritual stones. Lin Changqing started to bargain and said, 30 spirit stones, you can make as many copies of this thing as you want, it just takes some time. I believe you don't know how many copies you have sold. The stall owner shook his head and said, No matter how many copies you make, the content above will not change. They are all high-level talisman making notes. It is a very valuable experience in talisman making. It is guaranteed to be genuine and can definitely help the talisman master avoid many detours. If you really want it, I will sell it to you at a cheaper price of 450 spirit stones. Lin Changqing also shook his head and said, It's too expensive. I'm not a talisman master. I just bought it to give to my elders. I can't afford 450 spirit stones. I'd better find something else as a gift. After saying that, he put down the notebook and walked to the next stall. The stall owner who sells books was very anxious. He had sold dozens of copies of this thing. Almost every talisman master near Dongyangfeng City has one copy. He hasn't sold much in the past 1 or 2 years. Could it be that he met another interested cultivator today? He couldn't just let it go. The stall owner hurried over, grabbed Lin Changqing, and said, 30 spirit stones are indeed too little, you can add a little more. Lin Changqing thought for a while and said, how about I add 5 more, 35 spirit stones? The bookstall owner felt as uncomfortable as if he was punched, holding his breath and said, the minimum is 100 spirit stones. Seeing that his face was flushed, Lin Changqing thought about it and agreed. In fact, he did not expect to buy this high-level talisman making notes for 35 spirit stones. The price of 100 spirit stones offered by the stall owner was within Lin Changqing's acceptable range, so he agreed. Then Lin Changqing paid the spirit stones, took the talisman making notes and left. Chen Ziya saw that Lin Changqing bought a talisman-making notebook and asked, "Brother, are you still a talisman maker?" Lin Changqing smiled and explained, "No, I bought it for my mother. She is a talisman maker and she should like it." Chen Ziya nodded and kept this information in mind. The two continued to walk forward. There were still many things on the stalls. Chen Ziya would find one or two things after walking a few steps. If she didn't recognize something before, she would ask the stall owner. However, she asked a lot of questions but didn't buy anything. It felt like she came here to gain knowledge, not to buy things and pick up bargains. Soon, more than 100 stalls were visited. Lin Changqing bought 12 demon luring grass seedlings at the price of 5 spirit stones per plant. They were all 1 or 2 years old. There were also several common spiritual medicines, all of which were living plants and could be planted again. Chen Ziya had not opened a store yet. But seeing that she was in a good mood and didn't seem to mind it, Lin Changqing felt relieved. After visiting more than 200 stalls, Lin Changqing accidentally looked up and saw a 2-foot-tall object on the stalls in front. It was emitting a golden, yellow, and red halo. He didn't dare to stare at it for too long, for fear that the stall owner would find something unusual. This was the first time Lin Changqing had seen such a halo. The previous ones were all colorful or single-color halos. This was the first time he had seen a 3-color halo. Trying to stay calm, not daring to reveal the slightest flaw on his face, he walked through the first few stalls and finally came to the stall that emitted the halo. This was a miscellaneous stall, with all kinds of miscellaneous items, half-worn storage bags, low-level damaged instruments, several old-looking martial arts manuals, and some dried spiritual medicines and herbs. There were quite a lot of things. The one emitting the 3-color halo was a wooden sculpture, or more precisely, a statue of an arhat, with a dark patina on the surface, giving it a vicissitudes of life. There were also Buddhist sects in this world, but it was rare to see Buddhist practitioners within the sphere of influence of the 6 sects. Now that he encountered a treasure that was obviously from Buddhism, Lin Changqing was a little hesitant. Buddhism attached great importance to cause and effect. If he took this treasure, it would be equivalent to forming a certain cause and effect with Buddhism. Lin Changqing himself had many secrets, and he really didn't want to attract too much attention. However, he still asked the boss, "Boss, why do you have Buddhist things here? Can I take a look?" The boss was an elderly monk. Hearing this, he glanced at Lin Changqing and introduced, "Many of the things here were given to me by fellow Taoists who set up stalls with me. It's been too long and I don't remember who it was. If you are interested, take it and have a look." He took the Luome Buddha statue from the stall owner and observed it carefully. It should be a carving of the dragon subduing Arhat. It is at least a master's craftsmanship. The carving is very flexible and lifelike, with bright eyes. The weight is moderate, and the material should be the first-level spiritual peach wood, just like the lightning-struck wood in Lin Changqing's storage bag, all of which are the trunks of spiritual peach trees. After hesitating for a while, he still asked, "Boss, how many spiritual stones are this statue?" The stall owner said, "It's rare that someone likes it, so it's cheaper, 500 spiritual stones." When Lin Changqing heard this, he thought he was being slaughtered like a fat sheep. He bargained, "This is an ordinary first-grade spiritual peach wood. How can you tell that it is worth 500 spiritual stones? 50 spiritual stones. It's a gift for the elders. It's too expensive to buy." The stall owner shook his head and said, "I sell Buddha statues, not spiritual peach wood. 300 spiritual stones. This Buddha statue is quite old, and the carving is very lifelike and vivid. It can be regarded as an antique." Lin Changqing sighed, "It's too expensive. 80 spiritual stones, I can't afford more." The stall owner thought for a while and said firmly, "The cheapest, 200 spiritual stones for you." Lin Changqing shook his head, put down the statue, and said to the stall owner, "Sorry, I can't afford it." Then he left the stall, thinking that this was good, and he didn't have to make a cause and effect with Buddhism. Unexpectedly, after just 2 steps, the stall owner caught up with him. "Give it to you, give it to you, sell it to you." Lin Changqing was a little confused. Wasn't his attitude very firm? Why did he sell it? But since it was like this, Lin Changqing could only pay 80 spiritual stones to the stall owner. "Take the Arhat statue and put it into the storage bag. I will study it slowly when I get back." Chapter 140, The mind's decking can't hold it. "Brother, is this another gift for the elders? Do you have any elders who practice Buddhism?" Chen Ziya asked curiously. Lin Changqing responded, "No, I saw this thing rarely and I felt it was a little bit attractive. I casually gave a price, but I didn't expect the boss to sell it to me. It must be too high. Forget it, just treat it as buying an antique. Junior sister, you have been here since noon, and you have also looked at many stalls. Why haven't you found something you like? Chen Ziya chuckled and said, I just haven't seen anything suitable for the time being. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry. Isn't there still half of the stalls? Then let's take a look while it's still early, Lin Changqing suggested. Chen Ziya readily agreed, and then the two continued to stroll around. Soon, more than an hour passed and all the stalls were visited. Chen Ziya didn't get anything except spending a few spirit stones to buy a few beautiful jade hairpins from a female stall owner. But she was still in high spirits from beginning to end. It seems that shopping can really make female cultivators happy. It seems that mother and aunt are also like this. Mother and aunt can go out for a walk occasionally, but because her spiritual roots are too good, her sister is the hope of the whole clan, so she is protected tightly by the clan leader, and she has no freedom at all. Until now, she may not have come out to visit the street stalls and eat all kinds of spiritual food outside. What a poor little girl. When I have the chance in the future, I must take her out more often, walk around and have a look. She will definitely be very happy. Thinking of the little girl who would act coquettishly to me, it seems that I haven't seen her for a long time. I miss her a little. After completing this task, I will try to return to Jiufeng Mountain as soon as possible. But now I still have to take care of the present first. Put the dozen spiritual herbs that I harvested from the street stalls just now, which can be planted again, together with the spiritual herbs harvested before, and wait for an opportunity to plant them in the space in the future. Since all the street stalls have been cleared, and now the time is almost up. Lin Changqing asked Chen Ziya, Junior sister, we have finished visiting the street stalls. Is there any other place you want to go? Chen Ziya shook her head, I don't have any place I want to go. Senior brother can arrange the rest of the time, that's good. Come with me. I'll take you to a place you have never been to before. After that, he took Chen Ziya back. The gambling stone shop they saw just now was on the way back to the hotel. As soon as the two of them entered the gambling stone shop, a waiter came up to greet them. This time Lin Changqing did not refuse the waiter's service. He instructed the waiter of the gambling stone shop, please give my junior sister a detailed introduction to the various rules of the gambling stone shop. This is her first time here. Please introduce everything to her. The waiter quickly agreed and promised to give a detailed introduction. Lin Changqing turned to Chen Ziya and said, Junior sister, take a look first, don't buy it casually. If there is a raw stone you like, let's discuss it later before buying it. I'll take a look around and come to you soon. Chen Ziya had heard of the gambling stone shop early in the morning, but she didn't expect Lin Changqing to bring her here this time. But since she was here, she would take a look around and learn about it. Just think of it as a way to increase her knowledge. After hearing what Lin Changqing said, she nodded to show that she knew, and then the clerk began to enthusiastically introduce the various rules of the gambling stone shop to her. Lin Changqing began to walk around in the gambling stone shop. The strength of this gambling stone shop should be quite strong. At least it occupies a large area, and the space inside is spacious enough. There are raw stones everywhere on the ground, and there are a lot of them piled up in the corners around. Because it is already evening, there are basically no customers in the gambling stone shop, which makes Lin Changqing very satisfied. Now Lin Changqing is trying to keep a low profile as much as possible to avoid unnecessary trouble. After spending some time looking through all the raw stones in the middle of the gambling stone shop, there was not a single one that emitted a halo. Now he could only start looking in the raw stones piled in the corner. Fortunately, his luck was good. Not long after, in the raw stone pile in the corner, Lin Changqing found some clues through careful observation. After confirming that it was correct, Lin Changqing walked over. Because only a little red halo was seen, only a small part of the raw stone emitting the halo was exposed. Lin Changqing could only move the raw stone on it by himself. Unexpectedly, the more he cleaned it, the more excited he became. This turned out to be a giant raw stone. The raw stone that produced 200 high-quality spiritual stones last time was just a little brother compared to it. This giant was at least 2 or 3 times the size of the last one, and it was estimated to weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Although the Thunder Sutra has the effect of refining the body, only 6 acupoints have been opened now, which is not even a small chungdu. Lin Changqing estimated that he only had about 500 or 600 pounds of strength. He definitely couldn't move this piece by himself, so he called a clerk and told him that he had taken a fancy to this piece and asked him to call the boss over. He scanned the pile of raw stones again to avoid missing any, and picked out a raw stone of suitable size from the pile of raw stones. There were 2 pieces in total, and the smaller one was used for cover. Soon the clerk brought the boss over, and after a round of communication, he received 3,200 spirit stones from Lin Changqing for the 2 raw stones, and the smaller one was given to Lin Changqing as a gift. However, this price was really not cheap. It could buy 2 or 3 low-grade spirit tools, or a medium-grade spirit tool. After paying the spirit stones, the boss made this deal, and he was grinning from ear to ear. He probably made a lot of money from this stone. However, Lin Changqing must have made more money than him, so he decided to stop while he was ahead. He rejected the boss's offer to help him unscrew the stone, saying that he wanted to go back and unscrew it slowly, and then work together with the boss, the clerk, and the 3 of them to lift the big guy and put it into Lin Changqing's storage bag. Chen Ziya had already noticed that Yanjing was so big here, and walked over with the guy. "Brother, have you chosen the rough stone so quickly?" Chen Ziya came over and asked. Lin Changqing was in a very good mood now. If it wasn't for the wrong occasion, he would have shouted a few times. "Yes, I saw 2 that I liked very much, and I couldn't help but take them. Do you see any suitable ones? Let me help you choose." Chen Ziya nodded, and the guy behind him took a rough stone as big as 2 heads in his hand. This should be the rough stone that Chen Ziya chose. Lin Changqing took it and looked at it. It was heavy. To be honest, he didn't understand rough stones, but he still pretended to study them, and then nodded, which was regarded as approving Chen Ziya's choice. The boss happened to be here, so Lin Changqing said to him, "Boss, you have to give this one a little bit cheaper. We've bought a lot. If it's not cheap, we won't come next time." The boss laughed, took the raw stone, weighed it, and said, "This one originally cost 380 spirit stones, but now I'll give you 30 yuan off and charge you 350 spirit stones. How about that?" "Not bad, right?" Lin Changqing thought about it and nodded, agreeing with the price. Chen Ziya saw that Lin Changqing had already negotiated the price with the boss, so she paid the spirit stones without hesitation. Seeing that Chen Ziya paid a lot of spirit stones, Lin Changqing chuckled and said, "Junior sister, do you want to solve the problem on this spot and see how lucky you are? Or take the raw stone back like me, and solve it slowly when you have time, just as a pastime?" Chen Ziya thought for a while and said, "Let's do the same as senior brother, and solve it slowly when we have time." Lin Changqing nodded, which was also good. Then he remembered something and said to the boss, "Boss, please sell us 2 magic tools for solving the problem of raw stones. Otherwise, it will be troublesome if we don't have these professional magic tools for solving the problem of stones." The boss readily agreed. Lin Changqing paid 20 spirit stones and got 2 magic tools for solving the problem of raw stones, and gave one to Chen Ziya. After the 2 of them put away their things, they said goodbye and left. Chapter 141: The Worldly Atmosphere. On the way back to the hotel, Lin Changqing happened to see a Lin Changqing in front of him. It seemed to be the Lin Changqing that his second uncle had taken them to before, the kind that specialized in selling animal offal. It seemed to be quite delicious in his memory. He missed it a little and wanted to try it. So he said to Chen Ziya, "Junior sister, I'm a little hungry after walking around for so long today. There is a Lin Changqing over there. Let's go and eat Lin Changqing. I've eaten it once before and I guarantee it's delicious." Chen Ziya readily agreed, so the 2 of them walked in. Lin Changqing came forward and ordered 2 large bowls of fragrant animal offal. It was not expensive at 1 lingxi per bowl, which was considered to be good value for money. After paying the lingxi, the 2 began to eat hard. Seeing that Chen Ziya was also eating with relish, Lin Changqing breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Chen Ziya would not be used to it, but fortunately, Chen Ziya was not as delicate as Lin Changqing imagined. She also took the initiative to tell Lin Changqing that the taste of the animal offal was really good and she could come back to eat it next time. Lin Changqing was relieved. Chen Ziya was now more normal. She used to be so quiet and taciturn in Qingyuan sect. She seemed like a fairy who didn't care about worldly things. She felt less popular. Although we knew she must be very beautiful, it was hard for people to get close to her. But now she looks much better, at least she has a bit of worldly air. After eating the beast offal, The two of them slowly walked back to the hotel. Because it was getting dark, it was definitely not suitable to leave the market. Besides, the suite that was booked in the hotel this morning was for overnight rest in the market. They just needed to rush to the passenger ship landing area before the morning of the next day. The two returned to the suite in the hotel. Because it was still early, neither of them had the habit of resting so early. So Chen Ziyi made tea. Her movements were smooth and flowing, which was really pleasing to the eye and never boring to watch. "Brother, please have some tea." Chen Ziyi brought a cup of fragrant tea and came to Lin Changqing. "Thank you, junior sister." Watching junior sister's tea art is really pleasing to the eyes and I never get tired of watching it. Chen Ziyi shook her head and said, "Senior brother, you are too kind. Fortunately, senior brother is here today. We were suddenly attacked in the morning. In such a dangerous situation, senior brother actually thought of ways to deal with and counter-attack immediately. This kind of fighting talent and accomplishment is really too strong. I haven't fully reacted yet, and the battle is over. Not only did I not help at all, but senior brother also had to distract himself to take care of me. It's really useless." Lin Changqing waved his hands and said, "Junior sister, don't say that. You just haven't experienced this kind of thing. You won't behave like this next time you encounter it. Moreover, it happened suddenly, and there was no time to set up a magic circle for you. If there is a chance for you to use your expertise in the future, maybe you alone can beat dozens of me. So don't think too much. And this time, it was actually my own negligence that caused us to be targeted by this group of robbers. But this also reminded me. We agreed that if you encounter such a thing in the future, you must first try to stay calm, prioritize your own safety, and then come to support me when you have spare energy. If I ask you to run quickly, you must not hesitate, and use all means to leave there immediately. Because only when you leave, I will have no worries, and I can find a way to get out, and we have the double fish jade pendant, which can easily get in touch again. So the sooner you leave, the sooner I can get out, which is equivalent to saving you and saving myself. Do you understand what I said?" Chen Ziyi nodded and choked up and said, "Thank you, senior brother. I understand." She heard Lin Changqing's words very clearly, and at the same time she was very moved. Maybe except for her grandmother and Lin Changqing, no one else would be so good to her. It seems that something is rooted in her heart. She also understands the meaning, that is, if she encounters a situation that he can't deal with, Chen Ziyi will leave first, and Lin Changqing will be behind to cover her, and then find a way to get out. Reconnect with a double fish pendant in the future. Lin Changqing's own idea was that if there was any danger, he would use his trump card after Chen Ziyi left, which was to ride on Lu Yaoqiang and use the wind escape technique to escape. Ordinary foundation building cultivators really couldn't do anything to him, unless they were foundation building cultivators who had cultivated the secret technique of speed. They would have a chance to catch up with him. Of course, he was not that stupid. If things really got out of hand, he would not stand there stubbornly. He would have to escape. At most, he would help Chen Ziyi to avenge her when he succeeded in cultivation. Anyway, she was just a junior sister, not a Taoist partner or a fiancée. Although it would disappoint the expectations of the great-grandmother and senior Chen Ziyi, it was better than both of them dying. Leaving one person behind could go back and report the news or something. Anyway, things like being buried with the deceased or dying together were impossible. Lin Changqing did not have such an idea, let alone such awareness. "Oh, junior sister, while we still have time, help me set up another magic formation like the one I did this morning in the room. I want to deal with those 3 robbery cultivators." Chen Ziyi nodded and asked curiously, "Okay. How are you going to deal with these 3 robbery cultivators?" Lin Changqing thought for a moment before speaking. "Lu Zinai, the leader of that group of robbery cultivators, lost his younger brother to me, and he himself has committed countless blood debts and sins. He must not be allowed to live. As for that alchemist Wang Yaozong, I originally wanted to spare his life and let him make pills for me, but he looks like a piece of shit, and his alchemy skills are so poor. Keeping him might be a waste of my spiritual medicines and herbs. I'd better kill him. As for the winemaker Su Miniang, I plan to talk to her again. If she really has no lives on her hands and is willing to surrender sincerely, I can spare her life and let her make spiritual wine for the Lin family. Of course, she will definitely not be free in the future, but at least she can still live. However, what kind of treatment she can enjoy depends on herself." Chen Ziyi listened and nodded. She felt that her senior brother handled it almost as she expected, and she was quite relieved. She got up and went to Lin Changqing's room to help him set up the small 5-element maze array. She was familiar with it and quickly set it up. She returned to the living room and said to Lin Changqing, "Senior brother, it has been set up. This is the spell to control the array." Then she taught Lin Changqing the spell in detail. "Thank you, junior sister. The scene will be a bit bloody later, so I won't let you watch it. You can try to polish the raw stone you just bought and see if there is any surprise." Chen Ziyi knew that Lin Changqing didn't let her watch it for her own good, so she nodded and said, "I understand, senior brother, go and get busy. After drinking this pot of tea, I will go to polish the raw stone and see how lucky I am today." Lin Changqing smiled and said, "Then it depends on you, junior sister. Maybe you are lucky and will find a large piece of high-quality spirit stone ore. That will make a lot of money." Chen Ziyi smiled and said nothing. After talking to Chen Ziyi, Lin Changqing returned to his room, looked at the magic circle in the center of the room, walked in, and activated the small 5-element maze array using the magic formula taught by Chen Ziyi. He first released 24 purple crystal scorpions and let them hide around the magic circle to prevent any emergencies. After thinking about it, he decided to release the leader of the robbery cultivator, Lu Zhenyi, first. When Lu Zhenyi came out and saw the situation around him, he thought he was going to be executed. Although he was prepared, he couldn't help but be afraid when death was imminent, and began to tremble all over. Seeing him like this, Lin Changqing had an idea and said, "Lu Zhenyi, I have 2 questions for you. If you answer them well, I will give you a chance to redeem your life, but if you dare to lie to me, I will send you on your way immediately." When Lu Zhenyi heard that there was a chance to survive, he was extremely excited, and hurriedly said, "Sir, please ask me. I will tell you the truth and dare not lie to you in the slightest." Lin Changqing asked expressionlessly, "Su Miniang, has she ever killed anyone in your gang?" Lu Zhenyi thought for a moment and replied, "She participated in our 2 robbery operations, and it seems that she really didn't kill anyone. The first time, she stabbed the corpse a few times." Lin Changqing asked again, "That alchemist Wang Yaozong, you said that he was going to break through to the foundation building stage before he was 60 years old. He must have saved spirit stones to buy foundation building pills. Do you know how many spirit stones he has?" Lu Zhenyi thought carefully for a while before answering, "According to the spirit stones and resources allocated for our robberies over the years, I estimate that he should have saved about 15,000 spirit stones." Chapter 142, My Encounter. Lin Changqing nodded, "Very good, now I will give you a chance to redeem your life. Do you think you have something or information that can redeem your life in my hands? Now I can say that there is only one chance. Think about it carefully. And let me make it clear first, even if I let you go, I will destroy your cultivation and make you unable to practice forever. You must know this in your heart. It is impossible to let you go intact." After saying that, he ignored him, found Lu Zhenyi's storage bag, and started to sacrifice. Thanks to the powerful divine sense, the sacrifice was completed quickly. The divine sense probed in and found 2 or 3,000 low-grade spirit stones, 5 medium-grade spirit stones, 5 low and medium-level magic items, a shield, a high-grade defense magic weapon, and a red crossbow machine magic weapon. This should be the broken crossbow that shot down Lin Changqing's flying boat. The rest were some jade boxes, clothes, sundries, and a secret book. Lin Changqing took it out of the storage bag. The cover said Red Lotus Burning Heaven Art. He flipped it open and took a quick look. This was a high-level technique for cultivating only the fire system. It could be cultivated to the late stage of foundation building. The specific grade was not written on it. Lin Changqing guessed that the grade was high. After all, the 2 techniques that Lin Changqing practiced were both heavenly grade, so he had a good idea of whether they were good or bad. At this time, Lu Zhenyi also thought it through, and made up his mind and said, "I have some news that should be able to redeem my own life." Lin Changqing glanced at him and said, "Okay. Tell me whether I can redeem your life, and I will naturally judge after listening." Lu Zhenyi organized his words and said, "The reason why my brother and I embarked on the path of cultivating immortals is because we encountered some adventures. We were originally born in a remote mountain village under Baishan County, Kaiyuan Prefecture. When I was 15 years old, my brother and I went into the mountains to collect herbs. Because we were greedy for medicinal materials, we went too deep into the mountains and got lost unknowingly. The 2 of us walked in the mountains for several days, hungry and tired. Later, we found a cave on a stone wall. We thought of resting inside, but we didn't expect that after entering. We found that it was a cave. In several rooms inside, we found 2 books of cultivation techniques and several magic tools. The techniques in my storage bag and the broken crossbow were found there. There are 5 rooms in the cave, and we only opened 4. One of the rooms has never been opened. We estimate that the owner of the cave should be sitting in it, and his cultivation should not be low. Hearing this, Lin Changqing's heart moved and asked, "How can you be sure that his cultivation is not low?" Lu Zinai explained, "Because these 2 books of exercises and magic tools were found in the study and the storage room, it proves that the owner of the cave does not think much of them. So he didn't carry them with him. In addition, we went there twice in the middle and late stages of key refining, and tried all methods to break the restrictions on the door. Therefore, it is judged that the owner of the cave has at least a cultivation of the foundation building period." Lin Changqing nodded, which was regarded as an approval of his judgment, and asked again, "Where is the other book of exercises?" Lu Zinai replied, "In my brother's storage bag. There is also a first-class flying sword found in the cave, which is also in his possession." Lin Changqing found his brother's storage bag and began to sacrifice and refine it. Not long after, the sacrifice was completed. The divine sense entered to investigate. There were more than 1,000 low-grade spirit stones, no medium-grade spirit stones, and a pile of miscellaneous items in the jade box. These would be dealt with later. He found the secret book of the technique and took it out. The name on the cover was Zhuanjin Li Shenju. After flipping through it, he found that it could only be practiced to the late stage of foundation building. Lin Changqing didn't care about the wealth of a foundation building cultivator, but these 2 techniques were attractive to him. They were obviously much better than the inherited techniques in the family. He could go and look for them to see if he could find the subsequent techniques. Whether it was for family members to practice or to increase the family's heritage, it was a good choice. Lin Changqing glanced at him and said, "Record the specific path and how to get into the mountain. Once you've done that, I'll let you go." Lu Zinai shook his head and said, "The place where I was born is too remote, and every time we go in, we use some marks to find the way. We have to go there in person to know how to go next." Lin Changqing thought about it and nodded. "Let's talk about it later when we have time. Anyway, keeping him in the spirit beast bracelet is just a waste of some ordinary food, and there is no need to worry about him turning over. But let's destroy him first. This way it's safer." Thinking of this, he lifted Lu Zinai up and stretched out his hand to break his danshan. Lu Zinai screamed and twisted in pain in Lin Changqing's hand. The spiritual energy in his body leaked out from the damaged danshan and the pores all over his body. Lin Changqing didn't care about him and untied him to prevent him from being strangled to death due to poor blood circulation. Then he put him in the spirit beast bracelet and threw a lot of food and drink into it for him. He will be needed when we have time to go treasure hunting in Qian Mansion. Now we will keep him and ignore him for now. There are 2 more to deal with. The alchemist Wang Yaozong was released from the spirit beast bracelet. As soon as this weakling came out, he kept begging for mercy, which made Lin Changqing annoyed. He decided to blast him, so he asked directly, "Where did Lu Zinai say you stored 30,000 spirit stones? Tell me and I will spare your life." Wang Yaozong's face turned pale after hearing what Lin Changqing said, and he cursed everyone in Lu Zinai's family 10,000 times in his heart. He started to defend himself. "He's talking nonsense. I have so many spirit stones. There are only a little over 10,000 of them in total, and they're all in the storage bag. Consider it a gift from me, sir. I only ask you to spare my life. I can make pills for you, or work like a cow or a horse. As long as I can live, anything is fine." After hearing this, Lin Changqing glared at him and said, "The things in the storage bag are all my spoils of war. Isn't it too unrealistic for you to want to exchange my spoils for your life? Besides, your alchemy skills are so poor, and you still want to stay and continue to waste my spiritual medicines and herbs. You're simply courting death. Now I'll give you another chance. Take out 20,000 spirit stones, or spiritual objects of almost equal value, or valuable information to redeem your life. Otherwise I won't keep a waste like you and will send you on the road immediately." After hearing this, Wang Yaozong was terrified. He trembled all over, pissed and farted, and kept begging Lin Changqing to spare his life. Seeing him like this, Lin Changqing was sure that he would not be able to make money. A robbery cultivator like him had harmed countless people. Lin Changqing would not pity him, let alone show mercy. Since it has been confirmed that he has no value, let's treat him as a pest for the cultivation world. A golden light needle flew out of Lin Changqing's hand, passed through Wang Yaozong's head, and flew back to Lin Changqing's hand. Wang Yaozong's body suddenly paused, and he immediately fell straight to the ground. There is no need to clean up the corpse. Leave it for Su Miniang to see later. It can be regarded as a waste utilization. This should be called killing the chicken to scare the monkey. Of course, if Su Miniang cannot surrender sincerely, then this monkey must be killed. It is impossible for Lin Changqing to leave a scourge around him, and the last time he saw her approaching him, she looked dusty and coquettish, and she didn't look like a good person. Lin Changqing sorted out his thoughts and released Su Miniang from the spirit beast bracelet. As soon as she came out, she saw a person lying next to her. It was her accomplice, the alchemist Wang Yaozong. She was so scared that her face turned pale, and she was shaking all over. She began to cry. Lin Changqing asked expressionlessly, "Su Miniang, do you have anything to say? If not, I will send you to death." Hearing Lin Changqing say that he would send her to death, she was even more scared and burst into tears, saying that she didn't kill anyone or do anything bad, and that her crime was not punishable by death. Lin Changqing stood there and observed carefully for a while. He was 80% to 90% sure that she was not lying. After considering it, he decided to give her a chance, so he asked, "You said you are a winemaker." When Su Miniang heard this, it was like she had found a life-saving straw. She was so excited that she couldn't speak and could only nod desperately. It took a while for her to recover, and she quickly said, "Yes, I am a winemaker. My best skill is to brew Qingyu spirit wine, which can help break through bottlenecks. And I can brew many different kinds of spirit wine. I am willing to brew wine exclusively for you in the future." Lin Changqing nodded. "How can you promise that you will not betray me in the future, so that I can use you with confidence?" Su Miniang knelt down and swore as soon as she heard it, "With heaven and earth as witnesses and the great way as witnesses, I, Su Miniang, am willing to recognize the cultivator in front of me as my master, serve him as a slave for life, and never betray him forever. If I violate this oath, my soul will fly away and I will die." As soon as the oath was made, a magical power descended on Lin Changqing's sea of consciousness, forming a small silver rune. Lin Changqing had experienced this situation once before. The two silver runes were placed side by side, and he tried to touch Su Miniang's rune with his consciousness. A feeling of panic, uneasiness, tension, expectation, and various emotions woven together were transmitted to Lin Changqing's heart. It suddenly dawned on me that these emotions should be what Su Miniang was feeling now. It was really magical. With this rune, Lin Changqing could feel all kinds of Su Miniang's emotions, and Lin Changqing had a feeling that if this rune was broken, Su Miniang would immediately be shattered and die. The time before when Mu's Ioxio was in the secret realm was too short, and Lin Changqing didn't have time to study it, so he threw it aside when he was busy. It just so happened that Su Miniang's oath also formed such a rune this time, so Lin Changqing took this opportunity to study it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, Heart Blossoms. After studying it for a while, he collected his thoughts. After feeling Su Miniang's emotions and making sure that she had no other thoughts, Lin Changqing knew what was going on. He took out a flying sword from the storage bag, and Su Miniang was immediately scared to death. Lin Changqing glared at her. Because she had just peed, her whole body was full of urine. Lin Changqing didn't want to touch her with his hands, so he used the flying sword to cut the rope on her body. He threw her storage bag back to her and said to her, "Clean yourself up first, and then clean up the ground for me. Also, take out the attack magic tools, attack talismans, and disposable high-power magic tools in the storage bag first." Hearing this, Su Miniang finally confirmed that she had escaped death. She was so happy, or even overjoyed. Thinking of what Lin Changqing said, she quickly agreed, and then took out all the magic tools and talismans in the storage bag. As for the high-powered disposable magic tools, she didn't have any, so she put all the things in front of Lin Changqing. Lin Changqing nodded, put the things away, and found an empty storage bag to put Wang Yaozong's body in. He would deal with it when it was convenient. He also recalled the 24 purple crystal scorpions hidden around to prevent accidents. Then he cast a spell and left the small 5-element maze formation, leaving this space to Su Miniang, asking her to clean up herself and the ground. When the purple crystal scorpion suddenly appeared, Su Miniang got goosebumps all over her body. She didn't expect that there were so many spiritual insects hidden around. The master is really too cautious. She is already like this, but she still releases so many spiritual insects. It should be to prevent accidents. This made her know the master a little bit, but it's better this way, so that she won't capsize easily. And she has guessed that she must have been stung by these scorpions. It was so painful after just one sting, and now her head is still aching. Fortunately, it's all over now. At least her life is temporarily saved. She quickly pulled herself together and cleaned herself up. She didn't realize that her life was in danger just now. Now she felt her face flushed when she cleaned up. It was so embarrassing. No wonder the master asked her to clean herself up first. After cleaning up the ground, she found some healing pills in the storage bag and took them. She didn't dare to waste time refining them, so she could only let the pills slowly dissolve on their own. She was afraid that the master would come in and ask her questions later. Now she had no choice. She didn't know what would happen in the future. Was it really just her responsibility to make wine? Half an hour later, Lin Changqing entered the small 5-element maze again and saw Su Miniang sitting on the ground in a daze. Fortunately, the ground had been cleaned up, so it wouldn't be so uncomfortable to stay here. Lin Changqing frowned, but still said, "Don't be in a daze, tell me your background." Su Miniang was startled then, and quickly stood up and said, "Su Miniang greets the master." Lin Changqing guessed that she didn't hear what he said just now, so he repeated it again. Su Miniang finally understood and hurriedly introduced, "Zio B, I was born in the True Spirit House of the Yuling sect. My father used to be a winemaker with good skills. So he ran a small spiritual wine shop in the True Spirit Market. Ever since I can remember, I have been living in the True Spirit Market. Everything was very peaceful and beautiful. If my father hadn't had an accident, I might still be living in the True Spirit Market. Until one day 3 years ago, my father told me that he was going to buy raw materials for brewing, but he didn't come back until dark. I looked everywhere and didn't get any news. I asked the merchants who had been providing us with raw materials, and they also said that they hadn't seen my father go there. Later, I reported it to the management office of the market, but it was like a stone sinking into the sea, and there was no follow-up. At that time, I knew that something must have happened to my father. He must have been harmed and couldn't come back, but there was no way. I could only inquire about the news through various channels while trying to maintain the wine shop. Fortunately, my father passed on the secret recipe and craftsmanship to me, and this small wine shop can continue to operate, and I can still have a place to settle down. Although my father is gone, the wine shop he opened is still protecting me." Speaking of this, she was already in tears, but the good times didn't last long. Wan Yaokei, a foundation building deacon in the market, began to suppress the business of the wine shop openly and secretly. Even later, I couldn't buy the raw materials for brewing. People were under pressure from Wan Yaokei and didn't dare to sell me the raw materials. His purpose was to force me to marry him, but he was already more than 200 years old. It can be said that 1 foot had already stepped into the official material. He was 140 to 50 years older than my father. How could I agree? And I always suspected that my father would get into trouble, which might be related to this old beast, so it was even more impossible for me to marry him. But how could I, a little cultivator in the key refining period, be able to defeat the deacon of the Yuling sect? And I heard that he also had 1 or 2 natal spirit beasts, which were also second-level cultivation. I had even less chance. Later, there was really no other way, so I could only find an opportunity to take the passenger ship of Wanbao Pavilion and escape from that place. After wandering around in many places, I finally came to Qingyuan City, but was dragged into the fire pit by Lu Zinai. My luck is really bad. As for what happened later, the master should know it. I followed Lu Zinai to ambush the master, but failed and was captured by the master until now. After listening to her tortuous experiences, Lin Changqing also sympathized with her, but when he thought about it carefully, it was not right. Wasn't she a practitioner of that ancient industry? So he frowned and asked, "Did you miss something?" Su Miniang was puzzled and asked quickly, "I don't understand what the master is talking about. Please explain it to me." Lin Changqing organized his words and said, "When you came to chat with me, what did you say about going together? Didn't you also ask me to find you in your room? Are you engaged in that profession?" Su Mingyang was stunned for a moment, and then her face turned red quickly, but she hurriedly explained, no, there is no way to say that. It is all to get close to the target and find out the news. What if someone really believes what I said and goes to that room? Although he can't kill people because he is on the passenger ship, the spirit stones and cultivation resources on his body will definitely not be able to be kept, and he has nowhere to complain. It's a trap. And I haven't married yet, and I'm still a girl. If you don't believe me, the master can check it out. After speaking, her face quickly turned red like a tomato. Lin Changqing sensed through the silver rune and knew that she was not lying to him. He nodded and said, okay, I understand. As for the inspection, there is no need. I believe you. What is your spiritual root and how old are you this year? Su Mingyang breathed a sigh of relief. She was also very embarrassed to say that. Fortunately, the master did not do as she thought. She quickly replied, I have 4 spiritual roots, water, wood, fire, and earth. The 5 elements lack gold. The earth spiritual root is the best aptitude, with an aptitude of 49 points, so I mainly practice the thick earth formula of the earth system. Now I am at the 8th level of key refining. I am already 26 years old this year. Lin Changqing did not comment, and then asked, besides brewing wine, do you have any other specialties? Su Mingyang thought for a while and said, when my father was still alive, I also liked to grow some flowers and plants, but there was no formal inheritance. I used to have the skill of brewing wine, but I never thought about learning other things, let alone looking for other inheritances. In addition, I know a little about the skill of making tea. My father used to like drinking tea, and I was responsible for making tea for him. Chapter 144, Fate in a Mind. Lin Changqing thought about how to deal with Su Mingyang. After much deliberation, he finally decided to let her decide for herself. So he said to her, now, regarding your placement, I have 2 choices for you. The first is that I will bring you back to the family and hand you over to the General Affairs Hall of the family for management, and then I will not care about you. In the future, you will concentrate on making wine for the Lin family, and you must pass on your winemaking skills without reservation. This will ensure that you live safely in the Lin family's clan land, and you will always be protected and supported by the Lin family until you die of old age in the Lin family. Of course, don't even think about building a foundation. The second choice is to follow me, and be loyal to me in body, mind, and soul. I will send you to a secret place where there is abundant spiritual energy and there are no outsiders. There you only need to help me take care of the spiritual medicines, spiritual herbs, spiritual plants, etc. When some of them are ripe, just pick them, manage and preserve them, and brew some spiritual wine by the way. After that, you can practice with peace of mind, and I will also provide you with the elixirs you need for practice, so that you will not be cut off from the resources for practice. And after you have completed the great perfection of key refining, I will provide you with a foundation building pill or a foundation building fruit, so that you have the opportunity to advance to the foundation building stage. If your performance satisfies me, I can also give you a Zifu Twangsun pill to help you advance to the Zifu stage. Of course, there are pros and cons. You may need a long time and cannot leave there. I can't tell how long this time is. It may be a lifetime. In short, without my permission, you can only stay there. Of course, if you are in the secret place and your performance satisfies me, I can help you deal with F1 Yaoke in the future, but this is estimated to be possible at the earliest after I have established my foundation. Think about it carefully and choose which one you want. Now I give you a quarter of an hour to consider it. Su Mingyang listened to the 2 choices given by Lin Changqing. The first choice, the result of which can be seen at a glance, is to be imprisoned in the Lin family's clan land for life. To make wine for the Lin family, and to pass on the skills without reservation. There may even be people who will betray her and make plans for her in the future. She is still very confident about her appearance. The second option, although she lost her freedom, at least she would have resources to practice, and she would be provided with period building pills or foundation building fruits. Although she didn't know whether it was true or not, at least she had a thought. As for the purple mansion Twangsun pill, she really didn't dare to think about it. And she certainly couldn't do anything to Wan Yaoke by relying on her own strength. Now that Lin Changqing said this, she rekindled her hope of revenge. Su Mingyang looked at Lin Changqing, wanting to say something but stopping herself. Seeing her like this, Lin Changqing said directly, just say whatever you want to say, don't be so hesitant. Su Mingyang asked boldly, Will there really be resources for practice in the future, and foundation building pills for me? And even help me get revenge? Lin Changqing rolled his eyes after hearing this, and took out 10 bottles of top-grade key-gathering pills from his storage bag and handed them to her. He then took out the jade box containing the foundation-building pills and handed it to Su Miniang. She said, "Please keep these 10 bottles of top-grade key-gathering pills. This is a foundation-building pill. I can show it to you first. I'll give it to you when you are ready to build your foundation. As for revenge, it depends on your performance. Is it worth it for me to do it for you?" Su Minian quickly put away the 10 bottles of pills, picked up the jade box, glanced at Lin Changqing, and saw that he had no other expression, so she took off the soul-sealing talisman. When she opened it, she saw that it was a foundation-building pill. She quickly closed it, pasted the soul-sealing talisman back, and respectfully returned the jade box to Lin Changqing. Then she said to Lin Changqing firmly, "Master, I will choose the second one. I have thought it over. You can't change it in the future. I have thought it over. I will never change it." Su Miniang looked determined. "Okay, let's do this. But now we have to go to Jianzhou Prefecture first. During this time, you will live in the Spirit Beast bracelet. I will change it to a larger space for you. You can practice or read books, but don't cast offensive spells in the Spirit Beast bracelet space, and the storage bag cannot be brought in for the time being. You can pack the things you need into a bag and bring them in. These books are the travel notes of the Jinden monks. They are also brought in for you. You can read them when you have time. Just treat it as entertainment." Hearing that she had to live in the Spirit Beast bracelet, Su Miniang was a little resistant, but there was no way. She had no choice now. She could only agree, and then began to organize the things in the storage bag, taking everything that might be used, and got 2 full bags. This did not include the travel notes of the Jinden monks given by Lin Changqing. After seeing that she was done, she was about to send her into the Spirit Beast bracelet, but suddenly she remembered something and said to her, "By the way, you should prepare a list of tools needed for brewing wine. Also, list the raw materials and other things needed. Give them to me in 2 days and I will prepare them for you first, so that you won't be unable to find them when you need them." Su Miniang nodded and said, "I understand, I will start to prepare them in a while." After seeing that there were no more problems, Lin Changqing sent her and the 2 packages in. The main space of the Spirit Beast bracelet was 3,000 cubic meters, which was enough for her to move freely, just in time to keep Chuai company. Chuai had just been notified that they should live in peace. Chuai was smart and obedient and would not mess around. In this way, the matter of robbery repair was basically dealt with. After Lin Changqing confirmed that it was safe, he entered the space again. As soon as he entered, Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling came over to surround Lin Changqing, calling yo-yo, and were very enthusiastic. But because he didn't dare to delay too long, he just stroked them twice and fed each of them a nurturing pill, and let them play by themselves. First, plant the 12 seedlings of the demon luring grass. Of course, they are planted together with the previous demon luring grass. These are the spiritual herbs that Lin Changqing values more, and he has high hopes for them. Then, plant the other 30 or so common spiritual herbs harvested today in different categories. They will be needed in the future. Now many auxiliary medicines can be found here. Then use the spiritual rain technique and the birth-inducing technique. In the future, I will leave it to Lu Yaoqiang and his family to take care of it. They have done a good job in this regard, so Lin Changqing doesn't have to worry about anything. Go to the place where Lu Xiaowa is sleeping and take a look. After a brief inspection, I feel relieved after finding that there are no problems in all aspects. It won't be long before it will wake up, and it will be a second-level spiritual beast by then. Next, the most important thing is the big piece of raw stone harvested today. Because it is too big, Lin Changqing is afraid that he can't move it by himself if he releases it. So he decided not to open it at all, and let it fall into the deep pit directly from the storage bag, so that Lin Changqing can absorb and digest it by himself. Although this is less fun, it also saves a lot of trouble, right? Walking to the edge of the deep pit, the storage bag shook, and the big raw stone fell into it. After waiting for a while, I felt a sense of happiness in my heart, knowing that it was Lin Changliu's feedback to me. I don't know when it will return to normal and chat with me. The remaining small raw stone will be polished slowly when I have time. I have to go out first now, I can't stay here for too long. I left the space and came to the living room. Unexpectedly, as soon as I came in, I heard Chen Ziya say happily, "Senior brother, come and see." Lin Changqing took a closer look and found that it was a medium-grade water spirit stone. It was only polished now. If all the palm-sized places were polished, there would be at least 60 or 70 medium-grade water spirit stones. Chen Ziya's luck is really good. Moreover, the water spirit stone is just suitable for her own practice, and she can even save the exchange. No wonder she is so happy now. Lin Changqing also happily congratulated Chen Ziya. "Congratulations, junior sister. You are really lucky. Such a large piece of medium-grade water spirit stone is best used when building the foundation. It will definitely save you a lot of effort." Chen Ziya smiled and nodded, "I thought so just now. By the way, have those people been dealt with?" Lin Changqing nodded and said, "I killed the alchemist Wang Yaozong, and Su Miniyang spared her life and asked her to help with brewing in the future. However, the leader of the robbery cultivators, Lu Zinai, had some adventures in Qian Mansion. When we return, we can go there to take a look. He said that there is a door there, and the restrictions on it have not been opened. Junior sister will need to take action at that time." "Okay, senior brother, just arrange it. I have no objection." "Well, junior sister, don't stay up too late, go to bed early. The rest of the part can be polished later when you have time. We still have to rush to the passenger ship landing field tomorrow morning." Chen Ziya agreed and went back to rest. Chapter 145,000 Acres of Space. The next morning, after Lin Changqing finished his training, he waited in the living room of the suite for a while, and soon Chen Ziya came out. The two went downstairs to return dozens of spiritual stones, and then left the market. When the flying boat passed the forest where they were ambushed yesterday, Lin Changqing asked Chen Ziya to land nearby. Then the two began to check the traces at the scene and confirmed that after the two left, someone came here to explore and search, and even the wreckage of Lin Changqing's crashed flying boat was picked up by someone. I don't know if the visitor has found anything. However, the two only stayed for a short time and disposed of Wang Yaozong's body in the storage bag. In order to avoid always carrying this old salted fish with you, it feels bad to think about it. Then there was no danger along the way, and they boarded the Wanbao Pavilion's passenger ship smoothly and returned to room A15 on the top floor. Next, as long as the passengers on the passenger ship are all there, they will set off for the next destination. The next stop is Daniyang Prefecture, and the journey will take about 4 or 5 days. Soon, the sound of the loudspeaker array on the passenger ship began to be heard, inviting guests to board the ship. Not long after, the two felt the passenger ship slowly lifted into the air, and then accelerated forward. The two drank tea, and Chen Ziya was still stroking the furball in her hand. Now the furball had long been accustomed to this person who is not the owner, who wanted to catch it in his hand and play with it as soon as he came. Now it was squinting its eyes and enjoying it. "Brother, have you unlocked the raw stone you bought yesterday?" Chen Ziya asked casually. "Not yet, it will take 4 or 5 days to get to the next state capital. When I have time, I will take it out and unlock it for fun, just to kill time." "Junior sister, you won't unlock the whole spiritual stone, right? For a novice, it takes a lot of time," Lin Changqing asked in surprise. Chen Ziya said embarrassedly, "I couldn't help unlocking it yesterday, and it didn't seem to take much time. Brother, next time we go to the street stall square, let's go to the gambling stone shop to have a look." After saying that, he looked at Lin Changqing expectantly. Seeing her expectant look, Lin Changqing couldn't bear to refuse. Besides, it wasn't a big deal, and he was going to go and sweep up the top-grade raw stones, so she would definitely follow him. "Okay. As long as you like it, when we get to Daniyang Prefecture, we'll go to the gambling stone shop to have a look. But you can't buy too much, you can only buy one piece at a time, otherwise after you go back, Senior Chen Jie will blame me for corrupting you. Maybe she will punish me, so you can't just stand by and watch," Lin Changqing said jokingly. Chen Ziya also laughed. "Okay, then when I let my grandmother punish you, be gentle." After saying that, he laughed, giggled non-stop. Lin Changqing also laughed. Now Chen Ziya can joke, which is very different from the situation when they first met. Anyway, Lin Changqing felt a very obvious difference. At least she is not as cold as before, and she is much more cheerful and lively. It seems that it is very correct for Senior Chen Jie to let her go out to travel. "Oh, junior sister. Can you help me set up the small 5-element maze array?" We can't keep the female cultivator in a spirit beast bracelet all the time. We need to let her out for some fresh air occasionally." Chen Ziya nodded, thought for a while and said, "I'd better give the array plate of this array to you, senior brother. I'll also teach you the method of setting it up, so that it will be much more convenient for you in the future." Lin Changqing thought about it and felt that it made sense. He thanked her. "Thank you so much, junior sister. I won't be polite to accept it." Chen Ziya smiled and said, "That's just right. I'll show you how to put the array plate away now, then I'll trouble you, junior sister." Lin Changqing was not polite. Chen Ziya took out the array plate and flag of the small 5-element maze array, and explained while setting it up, and taught Lin Changqing the method of setting it up. Lin Changqing had already learned the control formula. After setting up the array, Chen Ziya said goodbye and went back. Lin Changqing guessed that she must not have had a good rest last night, so she went back to rest. Actually, Lin Changqing mainly wanted to take a closer look at what was hidden inside the Arhat Buddha statue that he bought at the street stall yesterday. He first checked the room twice in detail with his spiritual sense. After confirming that there was no problem, he activated a restriction on the door. Then he entered the maze array and activated the magic array, so that he could feel at ease. Then he took out the spiritual peachwood Arhat Buddha statue from the storage bag and used his spiritual sense to carefully explore the mechanism on the statue. From top to bottom, he carefully searched 7 or 8 times, but did not find any traces of splicing. It was really amazing. The person who hid this thing must be a master. The thing was hidden so seamlessly that he could not find any flaws with his spiritual sense. Then there was no other way. He could only use violent means to break it open. However, he was worried that the treasure would appear and cause strange phenomena. He should go into the space first. This was the real reason why Lin Changqing asked Chen Ziya to arrange the magic array, so that he could enter and exit the space on the passenger ship. Once he entered the space, he felt that it was really earth-shakingly large. Just to glance at it, the space was 2 or 3 times larger than before. In 2 words, empty. The height has also increased a lot. In fact, when he was practicing in the morning, he had already felt that the effect was 2 or 3 levels better than yesterday. He didn't expect the changes in the space to be so big. At this time, Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling also gathered around. The space became larger, and their range of activities also increased a lot. He played with Lu Yaoqiang for a while, and fed each of them a spiritual pill. They are Lin Changqing's most important employees, and the relationship between them must be maintained. The spiritual medicines and plants in the space still need to be taken care of by them. Now if Lin Changqing comes alone, he will definitely not be able to take care of them. He went to see again to see if the space suddenly increased. Would the intervals between the various spiritual medicines and plants also increase? Fortunately, it was not as Lin Changqing thought. The intervals did not increase, and the growth conditions were all good, so Lin Changqing was relieved. He couldn't help but walk to the deep pit. And with the deep pit as the origin, he began to measure the area of the space. After a lot of hard work, he finally got the result, 985 acres. Although he had a rough estimate, he couldn't help but get excited when the specific number came out. The area increased by more than 600 mu at once, close to 1000 mu of space. It was so cool. No wonder it felt so different when I came in. Although the whole space has become larger, it seems too empty. Except for some spiritual medicines and spiritual plants, the rest is just a piece of black land. An idea came to mind. Oh, yes, I still have some ordinary flower seeds. Originally, there were only enough seeds to plant 20 mu. Lin Changqing decided to plant them more scattered and plant 50 mu. When they bloom and bear fruit in the future, he will expand the planting. However, turning 50 mu of land by one person is not a small project. Even with the earth covering technique, it will take about 2 or 3 days. Fortunately, Lu Yaoqiang and others can help. However, after planting flowers, you should consider raising a nest of bees, otherwise these flowers will be wasted. There are several families in the ancestral mountain who raised topaz bees, and the 5th brother Lin Changqing has one at home. When they were young, they often provoke these spiritual bees. Fortunately, the queen bee has a contract, which restricts the spiritual bees from stinging people at will, otherwise they would have been covered with lumps. Pay more attention during this period. If you can't find it outside, you can go back to Zushan and think of a way, but it's best to find it outside. Maybe you can go to the spirit beast store that specializes in selling spirit beast cubs. It's hard to meet high-level spirit beast cubs. But if you buy a nest of ordinary first-level low-grade topaz bees, you should be able to buy it. Although few people are willing to sell this kind of bee colony that produces spirit honey continuously, you will always encounter it if you go there more often. Anyway, pay more attention. Of course, there must be spirit bee colonies in the wild, but you have to be lucky enough to meet them. For example, Lin Changqing didn't meet them when he hunted outside the Red Maple Fortress for so long last time. And if Su Mingyang passes Lin Changqing's test in the future and officially enters this space, she will also need to grow some spirit rice or something as her rations. You can't ask Lin Changqing to bring it in from outside every time, right? That's right, it's a test. Lin Changqing is preparing to release her during this period of time when practicing the Thunder Sutra and let her massage her muscles to relax. If she has any ulterior motives, the massage is the most suitable opportunity. Of course, Lin Changqing would only do this when he was absolutely sure. The amethyst scorpions would definitely be hidden around. They are Lin Changqing's most important bodyguards. Chapter 146, Three-Colored Relics. In the future, I will have to go out occasionally. Otherwise, if I stay in Jiufeng Mountain all the time, I won't have so many resources to upgrade Lin Changliu's space. At least I have to go to the gambling stone shop often. As Lin Changliu's inner space increases, his cultivation effect will be enhanced. Now I feel that it should be similar to the cultivation effect of others with 4 spiritual roots. This gave Lin Changqing a huge motivation. He wanted to get a lot of high-quality spiritual stones for Lin Changliu to absorb and upgrade the space. There is another problem that should be considered. It seems that I should build a few houses in the space. Otherwise, Su Mingyang will have no place to live when she comes in, and she can only sleep under the tree. After all, I only came in for a while before, and I won't stay for too long. It doesn't matter whether I build a house or not. Now I better build a few. Go to the next market to see if there are any suitable materials. If you want to do it better. Make a small yard in a space. Maybe I can let people enter the space in the future. As soon as I entered the space, I was busy until now, and I forgot the business I came in to do. He took out the Arhat Buddha statue from the storage bag, tried again, but still couldn't find the mechanism, so he decided to use violent means to dismantle it. He took out a flying sword from the storage bag and chopped it down at the Arhat Buddha statue. The Buddha statue immediately split into 2. A thing as big as a longan fell out from it, a semi-crystalline bead, emitting a faint 3-color halo. There was no strong spiritual pressure, which meant that the grade of this thing would not be too high. It could also be that the spiritual object itself was very restrained, which is what the saying goes. Lin Changqing's heart moved. Could this thing be a relic? The more I look at it, the more it looks like it. I couldn't help but approach it and picked it up. A warm current came out from the bead and entered Lin Changqing's body through his arm, scaring him to throw the bead out quickly. He immediately sat cross-legged on the ground and checked his body internally. He searched several times but found nothing abnormal. The sea of consciousness was the focus of his search, but there was nothing there either. Just now, Lin Changqing was almost scared to death, for he was afraid that there was a soul hidden inside, and he was afraid that it would be possessed. Fortunately, nothing happened. Lin Changqing thought about it carefully, and it seemed that the warm current was quite gentle. Although it entered his body, it was not aggressive. If it was a possession, it should have entered his sea of consciousness quickly as soon as it came into contact. In addition, the halo items have never let him down, so he mustered up the courage to pick up the bead again. This time, Lin Changqing was prepared, observing carefully, and planned to throw it away immediately if something was wrong. As soon as the gentle warm current entered the body, it automatically went along the Shaoyong Sanjiao meridian of the hand, all the way to the eyes, and the gentle energy entered the eyes, like a tired bird returning to its nest. They all poured into the inside of the eyes. Lin Changqing felt very comfortable. I don't know why he was no longer afraid that this energy would hurt him, and he fell asleep unknowingly. I had a very long dream. The protagonist in the dream was a little monk named Wufen, who had been displaced since he was very young and had been begging on the street. It was not until later that he was fortunate enough to meet his master Yuanzong, who led him into a sect called Zinfo sect, that his fate was changed. He also worked very hard and cherished it. After passing the 3-year test of Zinfo sect, he formally worshipped Yuanzong as his master and began to receive precepts and practice, all the way from a small novice monk in the transcendental period to an arhat who formed a relic. After transcending the ordinary, gathering the essence, the heartbeat, and the relic, he corresponded to the commonly known novice monk, the walker, the venerable, and the arhat. In the middle, there were also various processes and experiences of his successful cultivation, going down the mountain to do good deeds and accumulate good deeds, as well as various grievances and hatreds between Zinfo sect and another sect, the Demon Heart sect. Until the end, he actually wanted to cross the Qinghai Mountains, but unfortunately fell under the attack of 2 fourth-level monsters, and the dream stopped here. In the inner space, it was unknown how long it had been before Lin Changqing woke up. He was immediately panicked and immediately called Lu Yaoqiang over to ask it how long he had been asleep. The answer he got was not long. But there was no way to tell Lin Changqing how long it had been. He forgot that Lu Yaoqiang didn't have a strong sense of time here. He immediately exited the inner space and saw that the maze array was still running. He felt relieved for the time being. He was afraid that the array would be gone once he came out, which would be troublesome. This proved that he had not slept for more than 5 days. He went to the next door and triggered the restriction on Chen Ziya's door. Soon Chen Ziya opened the door. Seeing Lin Changqing, he hurriedly asked, "Brother, what's wrong with you? You haven't come out for 3 days and 2 nights. Tomorrow evening, we will arrive at the landing field of Daniyang Mansion. I'm still thinking about what to do then. Should I break in to see how you are?" Hearing that he hadn't come out for 3 days and 2 nights, Lin Changqing was very scared. In fact, it should be 4 days and 3 nights. At noon that day, he boarded the ship earlier. After Chen Ziya sat in Lin Changqing's room for a while, she said goodbye and went back to rest. She would definitely come to see him again the next day, so it was 3 days and 2 nights in her eyes, but it was 4 days and 3 nights in Lin Changqing's place. Fortunately, he woke up in time, otherwise there would definitely be a big problem. She quickly explained, "I just suddenly had a feeling, so I took the opportunity to try to break through my cultivation. I didn't expect that a few days would pass. Fortunately, I succeeded. Now I am at the 8th level of key refining. I was afraid that you would worry, so I quickly came to tell you." Look, after that, she stopped practicing the hidden spirit technique and let her true cultivation appear in front of Chen Ziya. Chen Ziya was relieved and quickly congratulated Lin Changqing. "Congratulations, senior brother, your cultivation has improved greatly, and you are 1 step closer to building your foundation. That's nothing, you are far behind me. Junior sister is almost building her foundation. And by then I will have to call you senior," Lin Changqing joked. Chen Ziya shook her head and said, "No, even if I reach the foundation building stage, you are still my senior brother, and you will always be my senior brother." After hearing what Chen Ziya said, Lin Changqing was still very happy, and joked, "I really can't call a senior in the foundation building stage my junior sister. The pressure in my heart is too great." Chen Ziya also laughed and said, "Then you have to work hard to practice, don't let me leave you too far behind." Lin Changqing smiled, said goodbye to Chen Ziya, and said, "Okay, I came here just to tell you, don't worry, I still have to go back to continue to consolidate my practice." Returning to his room, he breathed a sigh of relief, and finally managed it. This kind of thing has happened twice. The last time was in Qinghai City, before the beast tide started. Every time, Lin Changqing was scared to death. He calmed down his emotions and began to look inward to check his body. After checking several times, he confirmed that there was no problem. Except for the eyes that were a little different, everything else was fine. And he woke up in a hurry just now, and didn't see the relic. I don't know if it fell on the ground. He quickly entered the space again and came to the place where he was sleeping. But the problem was that he had searched dozens of square meters and couldn't find it. He asked Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Ziyaling, but they said they didn't see it. Could it be that he had eaten it? Thinking carefully, it was really possible that it was absorbed by himself. To be precise, it should be attracted by his own eyes. It took 4 days and 3 nights to absorb it. He also used these few short days to watch the life experience of a relic arhat. The arhat who formed a relic of Buddhism is equivalent to the existence of the golden elixir stage, a high-level cultivator. The cultivation experience, combat experience, and some things that this relic arhat has experienced and seen will become Lin Changqing's experience, helping him to go further and further on the road of cultivation. If Lin Changqing looks back now, the problems of the 5 Elements Chaos Sutra some time ago will definitely be clear at a glance, and all problems will be solved. This is the important role of this experience and experience. Chapter 147, Innate Merit True I. Of course, experience and knowledge are secondary and can be left for later exploration. The most urgent task now is to figure out the changes in my eyes. Why? My eyes absorb the three-color relic, which is equivalent to the energy of a golden elixir. If it suddenly explodes, it will be enough to destroy the entire inner space. This is no joke. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I dared to try it like that. This seems to be a little different from my usual cautious self. Could it be that I was affected by the three-color relic? I shuddered, but fortunately nothing bad happened, so I didn't care about it. Now I should quickly test the difference in my eyes. Lin Changqing has not practiced any pupil skills. The only thing he knows is a spiritual eye skill. It is also very simple to use, which is to control the spiritual energy in the eyes. Except for seeing things farther away and seeing more vivid colors, it is basically useless. But now I can only use this to try it. Slowly control the spiritual energy to contact the eyes, and suddenly boom, a stream of information rushed straight into the sea of consciousness. Lin Changqing spent some time to sort it out. It turns out that his eyes are called innate merit true eyes, which are a gift given by the heaven and earth to those souls with merits when they are reincarnated. Now Lin Changqing understands a little bit. It turns out that this is also related to the previous life. After all, in his previous life, as a surgeon, he did his best to save many people. He did not get the blessings in his previous life, but it turned out that they accumulated in this life. The specific function is also understood. Without any attack ability, he can only see the properties of some special items. On the contrary, the higher the grade, the easier it is to see, and the lower the grade, the less visible it is. This is why the things he saw are not lower than the second grade. After all, in the previous life, the few people he saved were able to give him this merit true eye, which was very satisfying. He dared not ask for too much. At the same time, it also made Lin Changqing realize that there will always be a pair of eyes watching you in the dark, good or bad. There will always be a time for reckoning. So people should still be in awe, and do more good deeds in the future. Although he is not a Buddhist practitioner and does not need to accumulate good deeds, it is definitely right to do more good deeds. And now Lin Changqing also understood a little bit. The three-color relic was condensed from 100,000 good deeds, and was absorbed by his own merit true eye. This made his merit true eye have a little bit of power. To what extent, he still needs to test it himself. With a thought in his mind, he took out the unpolished raw stone, but after looking at it from left to right, there was no difference. It was still a raw stone without a halo. He was a little disappointed, but he still put it back into the storage bag. Forget it, let it go. There will always be a time for me to know, and now Lin Changqing is a little fortunate. The great Tao of heaven and earth gave me the gift of the innate merit true eye, which is obviously a talent that is biased towards Buddhism. But it didn't let me reincarnate to a place related to Buddhism, such as becoming a Buddhist practitioner like Wu Fan in the end, but I don't want that. In this life, I am destined to find a woman I like, to form a Taoist partner, and have a few children. Although I don't pursue a large family, I don't want to be a monk. Or maybe he knew that he was alone in his last life, so he let himself be reborn into the Lin family in this life, which was also a compensation for himself. But these are not important. The most important thing is to grasp the present, cherish his family, lead them to live long and see the end of the world. By the way, he slept for 4 days and 3 nights. He originally planned to turn the land and sow flowers, but he didn't do it. Now he should hurry up and use the earth covering technique to turn over 10 acres of land. In the future, he will come in every day when he is free to turn over 10 acres. It will be done in 5 days. He did it as soon as he said. He chose a suitable place, marked it roughly, and then performed the earth covering technique. It took about 2/4 of an hour to turn over 1 acre of land. 10 acres of land plus the time to restore spiritual energy took about 6 hours. The bag of flower seeds was divided into 5 parts, and each part was to sow 10 acres of land. This work was completed very quickly. Lin Changqing was sowing seeds in the front, while Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling were in charge of pressing the flower seeds into the soil in the back. 1 person and 2 deer worked together and finished the work in a short time. After it was completed, Lin Changqing performed the spirit rain technique again. This was considered completed. The birth-inducing technique was no longer needed. It was just ordinary flowers. Let them grow naturally. He fed Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Xiaoling each a nurturing spirit pill to reward them for their help just now, and then exited the inner space. He quickly fed the purple crystal scorpion group some monster meat and a portion of ice crystal, and then summoned Shui, fed it monster meat and a nurturing spirit pill, and then asked it through the contract whether Su Miniang had any abnormalities in the past few days. After getting Chui's answer of no, Lin Changqing felt a little relieved. Then he summoned Maokyu and gave it a nurturing spirit pill. Maokyu was still a little scared when he saw Chui was here. Holding the nurturing spirit pill, he ran to Lin Changqing's side, chewing the pill while keeping an eye on Chui, as if he was afraid that Chui would suddenly pounce on him and take it away. Chui knew that Maokyu was also the master's spirit beast, so he didn't intend to take the little mouse away, and of course he would ignore it. After waiting for a while, all the spirit beasts had finished eating, and they were all put back into the spirit beast bracelet. Thinking that he had not practiced for a few days, he simply spent some time to complete the basic practice of the 5 elements return to origin. Then he started to practice the Thunder Sutra in the remaining time, and soon the familiar feeling came back. The thunder magic power stimulated the acupuncture points, producing various feelings such as soreness, numbness, swelling, and pain. Not long after, the sweat flowing down the place where Lin Changqing sat cross-legged had formed a small pool of water. Sweat was everywhere on his face, arms, and body. Although he was sitting, it was equivalent to the most intense exercise. Lin Changqing was about to reach his limit soon, so he quickly stopped practicing. And then released 24 purple crystal scorpions according to the plan, hiding around him to protect him. After seeing that there was no problem, he released Su Miniang from the spirit beast bracelet. Su Miniang was still stunned for a moment by the sudden change of environment, until she saw Lin Changqing, who was sweaty and wet all over, and then she came over, knowing that the master had something to do. She quickly greeted him, "Little maid, meet the master. I wonder if the master has any instructions." Lin Changqing glanced at her and said, "I just finished practicing, and my muscles are sore and unbearable. After I clean up a little, you can help me massage to relax my muscles, is that okay?" Su Miniang quickly replied, "No problem, but I have never massaged anyone before. I am afraid that I can't do it well." Lin Changqing said lightly, "It doesn't matter, you learn slowly. If you massage more, you will naturally know how to massage. Wait a moment, I will go to clean up first and come back." After that, he cast a spell, left the small 5 elements maze array, and cleaned himself with his spirit rain technique outside. Then he returned to the magic circle and asked Su Miniang to massage him from the back to relax him. It's worth mentioning that although Su Miniang had no experience at the beginning and massaged him in a mess, but under Lin Changqing's guidance, she soon became proficient. After all, the comprehension ability of the cultivator is still good. And it's true that after practicing the Thunder Sutra, someone helped massage and relax the muscles, and it was definitely much more comfortable. But now Lin Changqing is not enjoying it. He used half of his attention to communicate with Su Miniang's silver rune, and the other half paid attention to her movements. Fortunately, the rune has never felt the malice from Su Miniang. It just felt that she was shy at the beginning, and then gradually got used to it. The massage movements for Lin Changqing were also very standardized, and there was nothing wrong. After massaging the back and limbs, it was indeed much more comfortable. It seems that even if I don't test her anymore in the future, I can let her help me massage after practicing. Anyway, I don't need to pay spirit stones, so it's a waste. After the massage, Lin Changqing said to her, "Thank you, I feel much better after the massage. I don't have to bear the pain anymore. I guess I'll have to trouble you often in the future." Su Miniang breathed a sigh of relief. She had never had a massage before, and now her hands were a little sore, but she didn't dare to show it. After hearing what Lin Changqing said, she quickly replied, "You're welcome, you're welcome. Serving the master is what I should do." Lin Changqing nodded. Seeing that her attitude was okay, he continued to ask, "Are you used to living in the spirit beast bracelet?" Su Miniang hesitated for a moment, but decided to tell the truth and replied, "It's still a bit depressing inside, a little stuffy and not very comfortable. And since I was stung by the scorpion spirit insect of the master, my head often hurts, and I can't concentrate on practicing, so the effect is very poor now." Lin Changqing didn't think of this problem. After reminding her like this, he remembered that the purple crystal scorpion was a double damage of physical and spiritual. Su Miniang's situation should be the same as Lu Xiaoya and Lu Xiaoling at that time. Giving her some 100 flowers soul intoxicating wine would completely cure her. But now she is still in the testing period, so naturally she cannot be given 100 flowers soul-intoxicating wine. After thinking for a while, he said, "Let me think of a way first. It may take some time. After all, the elixir that can heal the soul injury is not so easy to find. You go back and have a good rest first." Su Miniang nodded. She knew what the master said. She was very grateful that he was willing to find the elixir for her to heal the soul. If it were me, I would definitely not be able to find it. After all, the elixir that can heal the soul injury is very precious and not easy to get. After taking Su Miniang back to the spirit beast bracelet, Lin Changqing also fell down to rest. Chapter 148 made a small fortune. The next morning, Lin Changqing finished his basic training and was considering whether to go to the next door to find Chen Ziya. Unexpectedly, someone triggered the restriction on Lin Changqing's door. He thought it was Chen Ziya who came to find him. When he opened the door, he saw a young male cultivator, but Lin Changqing didn't know this person. Lin Changqing was a little surprised, so he asked directly, "Dao Yao, who are you looking for?" "Is there anything?" the young cultivator said embarrassedly. "Dao Yao, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm a guest living in room A14 next to you. I came here to ask if you want to go to Daniyang Market later or tomorrow. Can you go with me? I'm afraid something will happen if I go alone." When Lin Changqing heard that it was about this matter, he hurriedly shook his head and said, "Sorry, Dao Yao, I have a female companion, so it's not very convenient. You can go and ask someone else." The young cultivator heard that Lin Changqing rejected his request, and said "Oh," a little disappointed, then said goodbye to Lin Changqing and left. Then he was about to trigger the restriction on Chen Ziya's door, but Lin Changqing quickly stopped him. "Fellow Taoist, let's go to another place. This is where my companion lives. It's inconvenient for you to disturb him." The young monk had no choice but to nod and leave without saying anything. After being disturbed by him, Lin Changqing simply triggered the restriction on the Jiayu Gate himself and went to find Chen Ziya for tea and chat. The two sat opposite each other, and after appreciating the tea art performed by Chen Ziya, they slowly tasted the fragrant tea. Lin Changqing told Chen Ziya what happened at the door just now. Chen Ziya asked curiously, "Who is that young cultivator? Is he here to gather information for some purpose?" Lin Changqing chuckled and said, "Junior sister, you are very alert now. It seems that you have learned from your experiences and made great progress. But this person doesn't look like a robber cultivator. He looks more like a young man from a noble family who is going out for the first time. He was rejected by me twice in a row, but he didn't show any other excessive behavior. His quality is okay." Chen Ziya was a little proud when she heard Lin Changqing praising her for being alert. After all, she had been through the brink of life and death, so she did make some progress. "So what are your plans, senior brother?" "The passenger ship will arrive at the landing field of Daniyang Prefecture this evening. Should we rush to Daniyang Market immediately?" Lin Changqing thought about it and agreed, "Junior sister, this suggestion is good. As soon as the passenger ship lands, we will go straight to Daniyang Market." The young monk who came to knock on the door, since he was afraid of safety on the road, he certainly would not go to Daniyang Market so late, so we can just avoid these troubles. When Chen Ziya heard that Lin Changqing agreed to her proposal, she became even more proud and smiled. Seeing that she was so happy, Lin Changqing decided to let her continue to be happy. He took out 4 storage bags and explained, "These are the storage bags of the robbers. There were originally 5. Su Miniang's storage bag was returned to her. Now there are only 4 left. Let's see if there is anything suitable for you." Chen Ziya shook her head and refused. "These are all the spoils of war of my senior brother. How can I take them?" Lin Changqing smiled and said, "I guess there is nothing good. Then my junior sister can help me sort them out. Anyway, I have nothing to do now." After Lin Changqing said this, Chen Ziya agreed happily. Lin Changqing had already refined 2 of them and poured out the contents directly. The remaining 2 storage bags, one for Chen Ziya and one for Chen Ziya, were refined and soon completed. They also poured all the contents on the ground. They began to sort them out by category. It didn't take long before they were finished. There were about 23,000 low-grade spirit stones and 7 medium-grade spirit stones. Among them, Wang Yaozong alone contributed about 15,000 low-grade spirit stones. As expected, the alchemist had the most spirit stones, although his alchemy skills were not very good. But it was much better than the others. There were 15 mid and upper grade attack and defense magic weapons, all of which were well preserved. After all, the battle didn't last long, and the consumption of magic weapons was not great. There were also no lower-grade magic weapons, which seemed to be ignored by them. These magic weapons also included the magic weapon that could break the god crossbow, and a first-class gold-attributed flying sword. This gold-attributed flying sword should belong to Lu Xinai's younger brother. They got it in that cave, and Lu Xinai mentioned it. Seeing this, Lin Changqing said to Chen Ziya, "Junior sister, how about giving you this god-breaking crossbow for self-defense? I think it's quite powerful. If you don't have a few layers of defensive talismans or defensive magic tools on your body, you'll probably die in one hit. It just consumes a lot of medium-grade spirit stones. This thing requires one medium-grade spirit stone for one hit. Ordinary cultivators really can't afford it." Seeing that Chen Ziya was a little hesitant, Lin Changqing added, "Didn't I take the small 5 elements mysterious array plate you gave me? And if I encounter any situation in the future, you can use this god-breaking crossbow to support me." Chen Ziya nodded, took the god-breaking crossbow magic tool, and then thanked Lin Changqing. "Thank you, senior brother. I'll accept it." With such audacity, Lin Changqing smiled and said, "Isn't that right?" Then he gave Chen Ziya another 7 medium-grade spirit stones, and this time she didn't refuse. 7 middle-grade spirit stones were only enough for this broken divine crossbow to fire 7 rounds. It was estimated that Chen Ziya did not have many middle-grade spirit stones, so she accepted the spirit stones given by Lin Changqing. The next thing was clothes and sundries, and some daily necessities. These were all packed in a storage bag, and they would be dealt with together when there was time in the future. 2 or 3 secret manuals of exercises and practice notes, but they were all common exercises widely used outside. Take them back to the family and see if anyone wants to practice them. Lin Changqing had already collected the 2 manuals of exercises and practice notes of the Lu brothers a few days ago. There was a second-level inheritance of an alchemist in it, but there were not many recipes recorded in it. There were only 8 first-level recipes. Lin Changqing took a special look at the second-level recipes. There were only 3 common ones, namely Zhuang Dan, Huang Dan, and Huang Dan. They were all first-level pills, upgraded versions of Juqi Dan, Huchen Dan, and Huqi Dan. Lin Changqing was quite disappointed. It was of no use to him at all, and the content was not as complete as the family's. This second-level alchemist inheritance is incomplete, but it should be considered rare for casual cultivators. In addition to the alchemy inheritance, there is also a first-level top-grade alchemy furnace, which Lin Changqing collected first. If he wants to learn alchemy in the future, he can use it. Fortunately, he did not have mercy on Wang Yaozong last time. It was indeed the right decision, otherwise it would be a waste of his precious spiritual medicine and plants. In the end, there were only a pile of jade boxes left, about 150 or 60. Chen Ziya and I each opened a pile, and many of the jade boxes were empty. In the end, only 45 spiritual medicines were opened, of which only 22 could be planted again, and most of them were already in Lin Changqing's space. The only harvest may be a seedling of linglong fruit, which is a bit like grapes, and is also a spiritual plant of winding vines. The grade is not too high, that is, it has just entered the grade, and it can barely be regarded as a first-level low-grade spiritual plant. Lin Changqing likes to eat it the most. He can eat it as an ordinary fruit at ordinary times. Eating a bunch of it is equivalent to the spiritual energy content of a low-grade spiritual peach. In the future, when there are more in the space, Su Miniang can also make exquisite fruit wine. By the way, remember to buy some winemaking tools when you go to Daniyang Market this time. At least those large sealed containers for winemaking are necessary. After testing a few more times and confirming that Su Miniang is fine, let her enter the space. It is not a long-term solution to keep people in the spiritual beast bracelet all the time. Of course, the robbery boss Lu Xinai is an exception. Lin Changqing does not regard him as a human. Besides, she still needs to treat her soul injuries, so it is better to wait until she is put in the space before treating her. All kinds of things are sorted into different storage bags, and the spoils of this time are dealt with. The two began to drink tea and chat again. After finishing this pot of spiritual tea, Lin Changqing prepared to say goodbye and go back. Before leaving, Lin Changqing instructed Chen Ziya again, "Junior sister, remember to refine the god-destroying crossbow first. You never know when you might need it. Don't forget it." Chen Ziya listened and agreed with a smile. "I know, senior brother. I'll refine it soon and make sure it can be used at any time," Lin Changqing also laughed, and without saying anything else, he formally said goodbye and left. Chapter 149. Inexplicably excited. After returning to his room, he thought that the passenger ship would arrive at the landing field of Daniyang Prefecture in a few hours, so he could not practice the Thunder Sutra. Otherwise, he would be exhausted, and why would he go to Daniyang Market? Then he should take out the Zuinun heavy water bottle and practice it. Anyway, there is no harm in practicing it more. He did it as he thought. He took out the Zuinun heavy water bottle and began to cast the magic formula on the heavy water bottle according to the record of Zuinun Tuangbaoju. He played all the magic formulas on the heavy water bottle in about a quarter of an hour. This was considered a complete practice. Lin Changqing started this cycle again. He could practice it about 4 times every hour. In addition to the time when he recovered his spiritual energy, he practiced it about 20 times in 6 hours. He felt that his control over the Zuinun heavy water bottle had been strengthened a little. After estimating that the time should be about the same, Lin Changqing stopped practicing and turned to recover his own spiritual energy. He would leave the passenger ship and set off for Daniyang Market soon. He must ensure that his own spiritual energy is sufficient to deal with various emergencies. At this time, the loudspeaker array on the passenger ship sounded, "Dear distinguished guests, our passenger ship will stay at the landing field of Daniyang Prefecture for 2 days, and will depart after the morning hour the day after tomorrow. Please come back on time, otherwise we will not wait for you." This voice was repeated 3 times to ensure that everyone could hear it. It didn't take long before the restriction on Lin Changqing's door was triggered. When he opened it, it was Chen Ziya. Seeing her inexplicably excited and eager to try, Lin Changqing felt funny. Has she been locked up in the mountains for too long, and she let herself go as soon as she came out? Chen Ziya looked at Lin Changqing and said, "Brother, let's go before it gets completely dark, then let's go quickly, it's not safe to leave later." After saying that, he led Chen Ziya down. After leaving the passenger ship, Chen Ziya took out a flying boat, and the two flew straight to Daniyang Market. Without Lin Changqing's instructions, Chen Ziya pulled the flying boat up to 200 or 300 meters high, which shows that her learning ability is still very strong. Moreover, Chu Ai was also released. Although it was only more than 30 miles away, they learned a lesson from the experience. Although it was a little troublesome, it was safer with Chu Ai watching from the sky. Fortunately, there was no ambush or sneak attack this time. Before it was completely dark, the two rushed to the gate of Daniyang Market, summoned Chu Ai back, and put him in the spirit beast bag. Then they spent 4 spirit stones at the gate to get the 2 people's entry and exit certificates. The certificate was a jade card, and the 2 of them kept 1 each. Lin Changqing said to Chen Ziya, "Junior sister, let's find a hotel to settle down first, and then go out for a walk." Chen Ziya nodded and said, "Okay, I'll listen to my senior brother's arrangements." The 2 walked along the main road of the market, looking along the way, and asked the roadside shop partners for directions. They soon found a hotel called Penguin. This name is good and auspicious, so they decided to stay here. The 2 of them went in and asked for a suite, paid a deposit of 100 lingxi, and just like last time, the waiter took them into the suite to have a look and to recognize the way, and then the 2 of them came out again, mainly because they knew Chen Ziya wanted to come out and take a look. Unexpectedly, as soon as they stepped out of the door of Penguin Hotel, they saw Lin Changqing opposite, and there were quite a lot of people. Chen Ziya turned around and called out senior brother. Lin Changqing understood immediately and said helplessly, "Let's go, please go to eat Lingshan." Chen Ziya nodded happily, and then followed behind Lin Changqing. As soon as they walked in, the waiter came up to greet them, and Lin Changqing told him to ask for a quieter seat. Then the waiter led them to a seat closer to the inside, which was less conspicuous. Lin Changqing nodded and accepted it. Then they started to order Lingshan. After asking Chen Ziya's opinion, they found that their tastes were similar. The first one was 8 Treasures chicken soup. I haven't eaten it for a long time and I miss it. The second one was a plate of red armor tenderloin beef. Lin Changqing had hunted this kind of monster in the Red Maple Fortress, but he had never eaten the meat. This time he just wanted to try it. The third one was the fried wonderful beef liver, and the fourth one was the dense juice bearpaw. Then each person had a bowl of spiritual rice. This meal cost about 50 spiritual stones. It was gone. If you eat a bowl of animal offal for 1 spiritual stone, you can eat 50 bowls. Fortunately, Lin Changqing just made a small fortune of more than 23,000, so these dozens of spiritual stones are still affordable. However, this spiritual meal is still worth the money. After all, it makes sense to charge so much. At least the two people were very satisfied after eating. The taste was first class, and they were full. They just waited to go back to practice and refine it at night. After eating and drinking, they paid the spiritual stones and strolled along the main road of the Jiufeng city. Lin Changqing was looking for a store that sold groceries. Chen Ziya had no purpose, just following Lin Changqing to stroll. After walking for a while, they came to the edge of the market and finally saw a grocery store. The two walked in. A middle-aged female monk was checking the accounts and didn't notice them. "Boss, guests are coming," Lin Changqing took the initiative to remind them. The middle-aged female monk quickly put down her work and greeted them. "I'm sorry, the profit of this small shop is small, so I didn't hire any clerks. I'm the only one here. I didn't notice that you two distinguished guests came. What do you need? It's okay. We want to try to make some wine ourselves. I wonder if there are any winemaking tools we need here. The main thing is a relatively large and sealable container, and some tools for measuring and taking wine. We also need some koji and yeast." Lin Changqing told the boss what he needed. When the female boss heard this, she quickly said, Yes, how many sealed containers do you need?" "There are 3 types, large, medium, and small. The large one costs 6 spirit stones, the medium one costs 4 spirit stones, and the small one costs 2 spirit stones. The sealing performance is guaranteed to be first class. The wine yeast and yeast cost 2 spirit stones per pack. If you buy more, those small tools will be delivered to you." When Lin Changqing heard this, it was not too expensive, so he said to the boss, "Then I'll buy 20 sealed containers of each, and the same goes for wine yeast and yeast. I'll buy 20 packs of each." The female boss was overjoyed. She knew that he was a layman and it must be his first time to make wine, but she would not remind him. After all, she just wanted to have business. She quickly agreed, "Okay, we have everything the customers want. Please wait a moment, I'll go to the warehouse and get it for you." After that, without waiting for Lin Changqing and the others to answer, she went into the inner room. The two had no choice but to wait in the lobby. Fortunately, it didn't take long for the female boss to come out, and then she kept taking out various containers from the storage bag, and finally 2 large bags of things and tools for measuring wine. Lin Changqing walked closer to take a look. The largest container was about 80 centimeters in diameter, almost 1 meter high, and quite thick. The next medium-sized one was also 60 centimeters in diameter, and the smallest was 40 centimeters. 20 of each type of container should be enough. If not, we can wait until later. After checking the 60 containers, and looking at the koji and yeast, he felt that there was no problem. He paid 280 stones to the female boss, and then put the things and gifts into the storage bag, and left with Chen Ziya. There were indeed fewer people on the main road at night, not as lively as during the day. The two of them did not wander around and returned to the hotel along the original route. Back in the suite, after agreeing with Chen Ziya to go to the street stall square to shop Teo Bao tomorrow morning, the two went back to their rooms to rest. Lin Changqing returned to his room and started to check the room. After checking it twice, he found no problems, but he was still a little worried, so he set up the small 5-element maze formation. He did not rest so early, and decided to practice the Thunder Sutra for an hour and a half, and do it when he thought. Soon, an hour and a half passed, and Lin Changqing looked like he had just been fished out of the water. First, he released 24 purple crystal scorpions, which were invisible and alert around him. Then he released Su Mei. This time, when she came out and saw Lin Changqing sweating all over, she knew that she must be the one to give him a massage to relieve his muscle pain. However, Su Mei Niang still greeted Lin Changqing very politely. "My maid greets the master." Lin Changqing waved his hand and said, "I'm sorry, I'll bother you again later." Su Mei Niang hurriedly said, "I dare not, this is what my maid should do." Lin Changqing didn't say anything. After going out to clean his body, he returned to the maze and received a massage from Su Mei Niang. The process was the same as last time, and he didn't see any problems. After the massage, thinking of the headache that Su Mei Niang mentioned, Lin Changqing had an idea. Chapter 150 Strange Aura. He said to Su Mei Niang, "Didn't you say you know some tea art? I have some second-level green jade tea here, which has a more obvious effect of refreshing the mind. I wonder if it can help your soul injury. Do you want to make some and try the effect?" Su Miniang was overjoyed when she heard this. She had been tortured by the soul injury these days. Her head would hurt every once in a while, and it was inconvenient to do anything. It was too uncomfortable. And as long as the mind is concentrated, the head will hurt, especially the effect of cultivation is very poor. Hearing the master say this, no matter if it works or not, I must try it. I quickly opened my mouth to thank him. Thank you for your understanding. The little maid wants to try it. Lin Changqing nodded, took out the tea set and a small box of green jade tea, and asked Su Miniang to make tea by herself. Lin Changqing sat aside and watched. After comparing with Chen Ziya, she found that her skills were not as pleasing and smooth as Chen Ziya's. But fortunately, she looks good, and her tea art is much better than Lin Changqing. At least it is quite comfortable to watch. Su Miniang respectfully presented a cup of spiritual tea to Lin Changqing. Master, please have some tea. Lin Changqing nodded, picked it up and smelled it. It was still the taste of the green jade tea, which might be a little more fragrant than the one he brewed himself. He took a sip and nodded. It was indeed much better than the one Lin Changqing brewed himself. He glanced at her and praised her. Your craftsmanship is good, much better than mine. You should try it yourself to see if it helps your injuries. Su Miniang responded, then drank a cup directly, then closed her eyes, felt it carefully, and opened them after a while. She said to Lin Changqing, Master, this green jade tea does have some effect on my soul injury, but it is not particularly great, but it can relieve it to a certain extent. Lin Changqing nodded, it's good that it works. You have your own tea set. I'll take this small box of green jade tea back for you to use. I will find a spiritual medicine that can treat soul injuries as soon as possible. Su Miniang was very grateful when she heard Lin Changqing say this. After all, the master was indeed helping her find methods and spiritual medicines to treat soul injuries. This second-level green jade tea is the best proof. Thank you, master. I will work hard to repay you in the future. You're welcome. Don't waste this pot of green jade tea. Drink more and see if it will have a better effect. Su Miniang responded, and soon finished a pot of spiritual tea. After sending Su Miniang back to the spirit beast bracelet, Lin Changqing also took a rest. He still had to accompany Chen Ziyi to the street stall square tomorrow. A few hours passed in a flash. The next morning, after Lin Changqing finished his practice, he went out to the living room of the suite, brewed a pot of green jade tea, and waited for Chen Ziyi. After a while, Chen Ziyi came out of the room and saw Lin Changqing waiting there. She didn't expect Lin Changqing to be so early. A little embarrassed, he said, Brother, good morning. Lin Changqing smiled and said, Sister, come over for tea. It's too early to go to the street stall square now. Let's drink tea first and go there later. Chen Ziyi nodded. The two drank tea and chatted. Time passed in a flash. After finishing a pot of tea, Lin Changqing estimated that it was about time, so he let Chen Ziyi to set off. After leaving the hotel gate, the location of the street stall square had been seen last night. Just walk straight along the main road. The two arrived at the place quickly. After a glance, there were about 400 or 500 stalls in the square. Chen Ziyi was eager to try it when she saw it. This place is smaller than the street stall square in Donggyangfang City, but it is enough for Chen Ziyi to watch for a long time. Lin Changqing followed behind her and paid some attention to her. He also searched for some things that he was interested in. Of course, the most important thing was to find halo items, and then various spiritual medicines, spiritual crystals and the like. He also noticed some spiritual objects that his mother needed to make talismans. These were the targets he was looking for. Of course, he would not sell the talisman paper. There were already 20 or 30 dozen in his storage bag. The ones he took back would be enough for his mother to use for a while. He visited dozens of stalls, but neither of them had any big gains. Only Lin Changqing spent 30 spiritual stones and bought a few ordinary spiritual herbs. At this time, he happened to visit a stall in front of him, which was surrounded by more than a dozen monks. It sounded like there was something good, but they couldn't agree on the price with the stall owner, so they gathered around to watch the fun. Lin Changqing led Chen Ziyi to squeeze in. When he took a closer look, he found that it was a man selling spiritual beast cubs. This was rare. Lin Changqing had visited the street stall square so many times, but this was the first time he saw one. There were only 4 cages in the stall. Now the stall owner was arguing with a young monk because the monk had taken a fancy to purple electric marten cub, but the two sides couldn't agree on the price. At this time, Chen Ziyi saw the purple electric marten cub, and her eyes suddenly glowed with excitement. Seeing that Lin Changqing had so many spirit beasts, she actually wanted to raise one or two, but unfortunately she had never met a suitable one. What she wanted was a spirit beast that was both beautiful and cute, and more powerful. She had also looked for it in the sect, but none of them suited her taste. Unexpectedly, she met one she liked here. She quickly pulled Lin Changqing quietly and whispered in his ear, "Brother, I want to buy that purple marten." In fact, when Lin Changqing squeezed in just now, his heart was beating wildly because he saw a strange golden halo. Now Lin Changqing's whole mind was on the halo, but he still divided a little energy to deal with her, explaining, "There is no way now. According to the rules, we have to wait until they break down before it's our turn." Wait a minute, now his main attention was focused on another place. On this stall, in another larger cage, there were 3 cute tiger cubs. They looked like they were born not long ago, and their eyes were not fully open. On one of them, there was a relatively dim golden halo, which was very strange. The golden halos I had encountered before were all very bright, but this one now felt a bit dim. Could it be because my innate merit I absorbed the relic? It was obvious that the tiger cubs in the cage should be from the same litter, and there was no way to tell what kind they were even if I looked carefully. Although Lin Changqing had raised a lot of spirit beasts himself, he really didn't know much about them. At least there was no way to tell what kind these tiger cubs were. But what could be confirmed was that the one with a halo must have outstanding qualifications, so it was marked by the innate merit I. Lin Changqing had already decided that no matter how strange this halo was, he would buy this tiger cub first. Seeing that the stall owner was still arguing with a young monk, Lin Changqing was a little impatient, so he interrupted them and asked directly, "Boss, how much do you sell this tiger cub for?" The boss was also a little annoyed with the young monk. Seeing that someone was asking for the price, he simply ignored him and took care of Lin Changqing's business. He glanced at Lin Changqing and said, "This is a cub of a second-level monster black tiger. After being trained well, it will be a second-level helper. And when it grows up, it can be used as a mount. How about this? I will sell you a tiger cub for 2,500 spirit stones." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.